that is the NEP Orientation and Sensitization Program launched by the Ministry of Education through University Grants Commission and run by the Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University Malvi Mission Teacher Training Center. Friends, there are 8 different themes in this flagship program, and very important theme is that Indian knowledge system. The NEP has put more emphasis on the Indian knowledge system because our literature, we think that our literature and whatever may be the availability of our Indian ancient Indian history and our literature, not only our literature, our art, our craft, our culture has more potential, and we something about forget it. Therefore government has pay more emphasis on this Indian knowledge system, and now this IKS is the integral part of our curricula. And some kind of courses, some kind of workshops, some kind of conferences are frequently organized in on this topic that is very crucial topic. So far for conducting a interactive session on the Indian knowledge system, today we have with us a very great personality, Professor Dr. Santosh Bothe sir. Sir, warm welcome in behalf of the Malvi Mission Teacher Training Center, Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University, to this flagship program. Friends, Professor Bothe sir is discharging his duties at present. Is discharging his duties as a principal at Saraswati College, that is affiliated at Shegao, that is affiliated to Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University. I will not take much more time because there are n number of things that can I told regarding the Bothe sir. But one thing is that specifically he is a man with a technology and computer with an ancient background. He has a knowledge in this domain because he have visited many more countries, and he have couple of patent also on his credit. So he has visited many more countries, and some kind of innovation he has brought in education system as well as in his institute also. So, sir, I will not take much more time and request you to start with your session. Both sir, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the kind introduction. And with a small correction, I'm not a great person. I'm a simple teacher working in a college. So, with that correction, I think other things are correct. Give me a moment. I'm just sharing my screen.
Yeah, sir, definitely. You will take your time, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so friends, this session will very interactive, and I will request each and everyone to take participant in interaction, because whatever kind of queries or the question in your mind with regards to IKS, you can directly ask to Professor Santosh Bothe sir.
I request please confirm when you see my screen.
Yes, sir, your screen is visible, sir.
Thank you. So, good afternoon, everyone. Those who are joined in a Zoom meeting, I see few participants, and on YouTube mode. As Sir said, we'll be interacting. And let me tell you that the session is more of sharing experience. The purpose of the session is not to teach you something, but I'll share my experience and you all can reflect on it as to whether we are really using what cultural heritage, traditional heritage we have. Many times, some of the things are considered as a myth. Some of them are ignored just by the name mere traditions, and so on and so forth. So I have been researching almost more than a decade, and I established certain technologies, developed certain technology, and established certain the principles in which uh, I found there is a lot of relevance to what the Indian knowledge system has uh, stored in it, and there are a lot of relevance with the things that has been in practice for ages in our traditional tradition and culture. So this is more of experience sharing session, and maybe we can call it as a reflection session, wherein we all can reflect. Everybody can put on their views, their thoughts here. For interactivity, I'll be asking questions in between, because I want to make sure that everybody is there and not just logged in and uh, doing their, like our students were doing it during COVID time. They were just logging in, and when we call their name and switch on the camera, it used to take a couple of minutes and then they would appear. I don't want that to happen here as well. That's like very transparent purpose of asking question. Another thing I would like to tell you all, that the purpose of asking question is not testing your knowledge. I know you all are learned people here. There are no right and wrong answers. The question will be of a type asking your views about whatever we have discussed. There can be some disagreement on certain points. So such disagreements are more than welcome. So with this brief background, I'll start with my presentation. I'll be talking about Indian knowledge system in three parts. First part, I'll try to cover the current scenario as to like where we stand as an academician, as an education system. The second part, I'll be discussing about my experiences about Indian knowledge system and what all things I have discovered through my experience, not as a research I'm claiming. I'm through my personal experience, and how they are relatable with the current science, technology, art, commerce, or any domain of life for that matter, and how they are so relevant today. Uh, then you yourself need to reflect on whether we should use this, whether it is useful for our system or not, whether this worth paying attention to. I'll be happy to hear your thoughts on this as well. Okay. So let us start with the presentation. I generally prefer to start with this video. Somebody please confirm you can hear the audio. So this is a favorite song. I'll be having few questions after this song. I think from the picture itself, many of you would have able to identify which song is this. Once I play, somebody need to confirm if you can hear the audio as well. Can you hear the audio?
No, sir.
No,
Let,
sir.
okay. Let me reshare maybe uh, with audio. Now, can you please confirm you can hear the audio?
No, sir.
Okay. Anyway, you can watch the video. The audio is not important. Okay. I'll play the again. Did you watch the audio? Sorry, video, not audio. Did you watch this?
Yes, sir.
Those who
Yes,
have
sir.
watched can respond in chat.
Yes, sir.
Praveen sir responded. Okay. So, any observation you made in this video? What are your observation? Is there any IKS? Is there any Indian culture? Or did you notice something which is specific to India?
So
Anyone?
the dance pattern.
Dance pattern. Okay. Golbole madam is saying dance pattern. Anybody else? What did you notice which is specific to our country, specific to India?
The foreign peoples actually enjoying our culture, dance.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Foreign culture, foreign people are enjoying our Indian culture. That's a good one. Any other thing you observed? Okay, Dr. Gayatri ma'am is saying sacrifice, the really good one, sacrifice for the friendship before independence.
Energy level, sir.
Yes, please. You said something?
Energy level.
Energy level, okay. So, otherwise, the dance in the school or in this kind of FDPs can be perceived in a different way. अरे ये क्या movie का dance दिखा रहे हैं FDP में, right? But now you found out so many wonderful things about it, like Indian culture, competitive and cooperative learning, sacrifice for the studentship. Dr. Manisha Madam is talking about competitive and cooperative learning. So, what I personally like, all of you are right. As I said, that I'm not here to judge anybody who is right or wrong, but just everybody have their own perspective, and we are here to understand those perspective. When I looked at this picture, I think I straight away compared it with, I think many of you will able to relate that to the things in your life, your experience, that when we go to the restaurant with the friends and there is a time to pay the bill may pay karunga, we have a fight for paying the bills. I had been into like various countries in Europe. I traveled in depth and breadth of the Europe, and then I found there the party is everybody goes to the some restaurant, or they call it as bar, and they eat something and everybody pays their own bill, and nobody offers anybody like what they have ordered. In Indian system, what we identified, like if you go to the restaurant and then you order a dish, probably the dish is shared among many people. So I found some similarity in this picture, like somebody said, sacrifice for the friendship. The person who lost was actually winning. But because the lady which is visible on the screen was desperate for somebody's win, the true intent, see, he realized, he understood that she is really for the winning, and from bottom of the heart, that is what he sensed, and then he sacrificed. He was not like uh, he lost the battle, right? So that is sacrifice for the friendship. Do you think it's not just one example? Everybody might have experienced this throughout their life. Have you experienced this sacrifice for friendship?
Yes, sir. Many times, sir.
Each one of us, right? Each one of, there is,
Yes,
I
sir.
think,
Yes, sir.
hardly anyone who didn't
Yes,
they are in India and they have not experienced it. This is quite often, rather every and now and then we experience this. The friendship is the best relation. That is what we say with the pride, lot of pride. And Indian friends, like मेरा definition ऐसा है friendship का, जैसे कि suppose मैंने जाके suppose we are riding a bike, रुक जा, सामने गड्ढा है, मुझे उतर जाने दे. और दूसरा होता है, रुक जा रुक जा रुक जा, एंड देन तुझे बोला था ना बेवकूफ कि आगे, सॉरी टू यूज दिस स्लैंग, आगे गड्ढा है, दोनों गिर जाएंगे, दोनों साथ में गिर गए. So which one you think is the real friendship, the first or second one?
Both are, sir.
Both are the friendship. Okay. Any different opinion? Sir is saying both are the example of friendship. So keep this in mind for now. And we'll come back to this video and this values, the Indian knowledge, what this video taught us, or what you observed us. Instead of taught, I'll use what Indian values you observed in this particular video. We'll come back to this. So keep this in mind. So I'll be coming back on, I'll be talking again on to this. Okay. So let us move further. What do you think? I'll share this link in a chat for all of you to access, and I would like to have your opinion on to this. Give me a moment. My question is, what is the purpose of education? I want everybody to answer, and I have shared the link in. I have shared the link in chat. In parallel, I'll open it here, and we can check the live responses of the all the participants. So you open this window and respond to both the questions. I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the first question is, do you think that exam can measure? No, everyone, it's not true. Somebody has responded. Don't worry, your name will not be visible. Okay, you can respond anonymously. Just log into the link into a chat. No, not 100%. There are, you can see the responses on the screen. Seven people have responded so far. So almost all questions says that exam, if you relate to ourselves, that the exam results we had so far and whether it was a true reflection of our ability, I think many of the answer is in front of you, that we agree that it's not a reflection of our one's true ability, right? So like this, we'll have one more question. I think the question is not visible on the screen, but still you can type the answers. I'll read the question for you. The first, what is the primary purpose of education? If you can answer this on the same screen. Do you think that the exam is result? Instead of this question, if you can answer on the screen, on the same screen, whether what is the primary purpose of education? Why we teach the student? Go ahead and respond on the same screen, please. I can't see the answers. Maybe those who can't reply here, they can respond in a chat. What is the primary purpose of education? Okay, I have a few answers in chat. Be good citizen, become a man. Interesting. Job. Okay. Second question is not visible. Yes, sir. I'm asking you the question. What is the primary purpose of education? Behavior change. Okay. To make literate, to be a good human being. Now, this is from teacher's perspective. Now, change your perspective a little bit. From student perspective, why they come to the college? Why? What's the primary purpose of coming to the college? Why? Why? What is their primary objective of education? Into a college to get knowledge. Are you sure, sir, that students are coming to get knowledge for literate, enhance the abilities for getting job? Okay, so many things. Okay, thank you for responding. Adapt and learn new skills. Very good. For job, that is again a repeat answer. Job, I guess. Some of you are like feeling that job is the thing which they come to the college. Now I'll share some slide. Let me know if you agree to those slides. One moment, please. So here I have a slide. This says primary purpose of education. As we have discussed that everybody has their own perspective. But my experience, nowadays, having degree is essential for so many reasons. From getting married to getting job and starting a business or getting funding. So you name the few. I think the students, some of the students, not all, but majority of the students, the primary purpose coming to the college is getting a degree. To some extent, and this is the purpose. There is another lot, rather majority of lot, which is coming to the college for getting the job. So if you ask them why you are going to the college, what is your final objective after getting a degree or once you complete the college, I think in most of the cases we'll get answer that I want to do a job. So, but was the same purpose? Many of you responded in a chat. I'm talking in the student perspective, but we could see different perspective from the faculty that some of them said getting knowledge, ensure the good future, a good human being. That's really wonderful answers. So that should be a primary purpose of the. But actually, the Indian knowledge system, we had. I'm not getting into some spirituality or some what we call mistakenly mythology or these things, but from the reported history, known history or written history for which we have evidence, the purpose of education was never getting a job or getting a degree or putting a qualification. The primary purpose of the education was igniting the mind. What Indian knowledge system can tell us that the primary and the most important purpose of the education is igniting your mind. So ignite it what for what? The purpose of the education system, igniting the mind to challenge, to challenge, to ask the questions, to break down the stereotypes, to have generate a curiosity. So that is what the all ignited mind can do. So primary purpose of the typical Indian education system, I'm not talking about a system after 18th century, before that. The primary purpose was igniting one's mind, the individual's mind who is getting educated. So that was the purpose. How many of you agree it's the right purpose? Ignite one's mind. So that doesn't mean that specializing them into something, but igniting their mind into a for asking question, challenging the things, or finding the answers, developing the solutions. That is what I mean by igniting mind. So how many of you agree that is the right purpose of the education? Those who agree can respond in a chat as yes, and those who don't agree, they can say no or disagree. Okay. Dr. Balram sir, I think you said no. We'd like to know your perspective. What is your perspective of, if you can unmute and speak, or you can type. Okay, we'll wait for his answer in a chat, and then we'll continue with. So in my view, if you ignited mind, find the solutions. Ignited mind can do many wonderful things. So again, keep this it as a bookmark. I'll be also discussing these two things: first video, as I promised, and this ignited mind. What ignited mind can do, I'll be talking about this during the session. Okay, so let us move on. How many of you agree with this picture? This is a kind of education system we have. There again, don't worry, it's not about being right and wrong. Everybody have their, in some institute that may be a system, in some institute it may not be a system. So do we have such kind of education system? If you read, we have, suppose we taught a subject. Let me give a reference to what first picture. What I'm expecting from you all is, imagine that we taught a certain subject, let's say interview techniques, or let's say computer programming, and I'm judging them by writing the ability of their ability of writing answers on the answer sheet instead of, and there are some students who are really good in writing, but they don't know anything about programming. There are some students who are really good at programming, but they are very bad at writing it in English or a particular language. There are some who are a good doer, who can actually sit and do it on a PC, but can't write or speak it out because of certain limitation, the personal limitations they have. So in that perspective, do you think, I'm referring to the picture one on the left, the current evaluation is right? What do you think? Do you agree with the first picture, or you don't agree? I think everybody is tired of typing in chat. Disagree. Okay. Disagree. Okay. Okay. So again, this is a third bookmark. First was video. Second was the purpose and the igniting mind. And third is this. Within this big backdrop, this bookmark, three bookmarks, will try and understand what's the Indian knowledge system says about Indian education system. So, sa vidyaya imuktahi, meaning the knowledge or vidya is one which liberates you from misunderstanding, which helps you to get free from all the bandhan that has been there due to your ignorance, lack of knowledge, or so many things. Okay, it helps you to the knowledge or the vidya is the one which help you to get liberate yourself from all the bad things, bad habits, then all the sorrows and the worries. Then it helps you to liberate you from the all the real life scenarios, and it helps you to understand what is truth. Does that means it asks you to ignore what is death and what is birth? No, it helps you to get the real meaning of death and birth. It helps you to understand the real meaning of the different the bad habits that anyone has and get away with those habits. So it liberates you from all the disbeliefs. It relates from all kinds of lack of knowledge. That's what we call the vidya in Indian education system. Okay, so that is the perspective given by Indian knowledge system. The NEP is the very basis for this. Now, what the preamble of NEP, I have identified this diagram online and I related this to the NEP. NEP also talks about taking the students not to the knowledge, but taking to the student at the wisdom level and the truth level. What I mean by this is, suppose if you give the scenario, the student can apply their experience and knowledge and provide the solution for the given scenario. Like suppose we are into the digital era, and the digital marketing is taking every commonplace in everybody's life. Suppose I have a scenario that let us consider academic scenario. I want to have admission of the good students in my college. Then these are the eligibility. Considering this, what campaign, what content I should design and promote it onto social media so that I will get these students. So this can't be done just based on the data, that how many students are there, what they look for, not just on the best of information, or not even the knowledge. It requires certain experience to understand when student take admission. Based on that wisdom, that experience, we will design the campaign. I'm taking just a small example. Then, but still the assurity of the getting result is a question mark. If the person can design the campaign, which can influence the mind and get the desired number of admission, that is what we call the truth revelation. Right? So this is a third or fourth bookmark I'll be leaving you with, and I will be covering that into discussion throughout. Now, these 4 bookmark are enough for the session. Now, let us look at the scenario around us, where we are heading to, what is which world we are living into, what are the things into the real world. So, as the diagram indicates here, the figure indicates here, the pointer is the clock pointing towards the predictive. The reactive and proactive world is no more relevant. Everything in this world is being predicted. Like if you search something on Google, the next time you go to the particular website, it shows you the advertisement related to the previous keyword you have searched online. If you go to the Amazon, it tracks you down and finds out, if you select particular atom, what are the common or frequently brought atom together. It predicts you what you are going to buy. It tracks down so many things. So prediction is everywhere. Doctors want to predict what is the right medicine to be given to the patient so that they will be cured in less time, less dose. Or they want to predict many things. The teachers want to predict, okay, what should be the way of teaching so that my maximum student level will understand my own class today. Right? So what are the technologies which are making this prediction possible? Number one is artificial intelligence, then sensor-based signal measurement system, the connectivity to the internet that helps to accumulate the data in real time, power of modern analytics, and it is very rapid and effective. So if you just look at the things, those things which I mentioned objectively, I think everybody is aware of this term. But let me give a real life example. Suppose the way you unlock your cell phone, do you think you unlock in the same way when you are angry, when you are sad, when you are happy, when you are hungry? The way you unlock, like suppose I have 9 points on the screen, how I connect those 9 points to unlock my cell phone, let's say time, pressure, speed. If I consider those factors, do you think that can reveal something about me? It can help me understand whether I'm angry, whether I'm tired, whether I'm traveling. It can understand so many things just by monitoring the way you unlock your phone. How many of you agree with this statement? I'll put it in another way. We can predict many things about the user by just monitoring the way the person is unlocking the phone. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not trying to detect their password or the pattern of unlock. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So do you agree? We can predict many things. Okay, let me give a simple example. Suppose I monitor the WhatsApp status of the individual. Don't worry, I'm not going to do that. But there are algorithms. If I monitor the WhatsApp status of the individual for 6 months, can I predict what kind of food he likes, what is his network, whether he is happy in his life or her life, whether the personal life is good or it's not so good? what is his or her favorite color, what is favorite food, what brand a person likes, which kind of clothes he wears, what kind of restaurants he dines in, what kind of places he visit, how many friends he or she has. Can we predict so many things about the person just by looking at the WhatsApp status? Yeah, up to some extent, maybe. Okay, so there are so powerful algorithm which can extract the meaningful insights from such information. So that's why I'm saying we are living in a predictive world. There are next moves are predicted, be it the food, healthcare, education, any in this industry. Another scenario which we are living into, we really don't need to reinvent the wheel. The United Nations has identified the problems of humanity. Means more than 200 countries. Those countries have some common problems. And those common problems are grouped into categories, and those categories are known as sustainable development goals. Each sustainable goal has certain list set of problems, issues to be solved. And those issues or problems are known as actions. Okay. And those action, each of the action is equivalent to, I think, several hundred PhDs, degrees, UGs, and PGs. I'm repeating several hundred UGs, PGs, and PhDs. Imagine the things that are there into this SDG, Sustainable Development Goal. You might feel that where is the IKS? We talked about the way different things which are not connected. Imagine this as I am putting a dots on the canvas, and at the end we'll connect these dots and we'll create a holistic picture of Indian knowledge system by connecting these dots. If you carefully understand and look at the Indian knowledge system, almost 13 goals have direct solution in Indian knowledge system. Be it engineering, be it chemistry, be it food science, be it healthcare, agriculture, climate. You will find, like, let me give the one example of the climate. We worship trees. Our Indian system tells us not to cut even the leaves of the tree without a reason. Forget about cutting the entire tree. And there is a process to cut down the tree. But the way we are cutting and impacting the environment, I think we need to learn a lot to protect environment from Indian knowledge system. For healthcare, anybody ever referred to Charak Sahita or Sushu Sahita? The modern medicine talks about a personalized and precision medicine that was there into the personalization of doses is the very principle of medicine dispensing. Still, it is not in practice. We are just talking about it. That was in practice. You name any area, and you will find that there is relevance. Let us call research, science, technology. We'll be discussing that. So this is another dot I have put on the canvas, and we'll try to connect all these dots. One more scenario I want to bring to your notice. I think 15, 20 years back, if you read these statements, the first part was true. But nowadays, second part is true. कोई एक्सीडेंट हो गया एंड कोई बाहुबली उस व्हीकल का ओनर है जिससे एक्सीडेंट हुआ एंड यू आर इनटू अ पुलिस स्टेशन. Again, this I'm not generalizing this. I'm sharing my experiences. So the person बाल बच्चा वाला हुआ यार ये बाहुबली मेरा कुछ गड़बड़ कर देगा मुझसे सच ना बुलवाओ. That is a current scenario. If you take the same scenario, let's say 20, 25 years or 30 years back, I think you have the first part too. I think that's the culture we have. Even the very comparable or the example very close to every teacher's heart is the grades, the result, output of the exam. If you look at this picture just 20 years back, I'm not like good at timing, like the dates and times, but I think somewhere around 2000, same scenario, different outcomes. Think, right? So these are the changed scenario over the past few years. I think this is another dot I'm putting, and now you might started getting a feel that there is something for Indian knowledge system. This is how the higher education is being delivered. Again, I'm quoting again. This is my personal experience, and my personal experience not only to my institutes, many institutes around surrounding or across the country, rather, I would say. How many of you agreed with this slide? Is this a scenario? First year, second year, third year, and fourth year of a university education? Can I have a few answers in chat? Do you agree or disagree? Okay, I had a first answer. Let me check who is this. William sir, maybe. Dr. Manisha ma'am is saying yes. Maybe I think he might be referring to, in some cases it is depends on certain factors. I agree. Okay, so getting student to the class, very good. There are there is one no, and maybe Rakhi ma'am is saying yes. I agree. Srikant sir, Swati madam is saying yes. Okay, Rendra sir is saying yes. Okay, one more scenario. Attendance is compulsory. If we do this, I found this is a scenario in many institute. I am not referring to any particular institute. Then that is why we come to the in many institute or in many places, this is the scenario. Why we come to the classes. In this, we have to talk about, I would like to share there is nothing new. I think everybody who are attached with Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University Amravati would be like knowing this very well, but those who are not at in our university, I think I have. Okay, Balram sir is having interesting answer. The scenario he says like it is in post COVID. It's from the first year. I agree, sir, with you, Balram sir, and I have observed in many of the institutes. Okay, so what Gadge Maharaj said: if there is shortage of money, sell food utensils, shop cheap clothes, live in depleted house, but don't leave children without education. Does he really talk about the education for doing job or something else? That's the question. That's a question for a reflection. The education, does Sant Gadge Maharaj uh, uh, refer to the education, the degree only, or the education which help him to get liberated from the misunderstanding? Yeah, Narendra sir is saying the attendance is bad. I am with you, sir. And today's session is incorporating IKS and improving those scenarios which I presented. I'm not just presenting you the problem. I'm here with the solution as well. What can be done to address those? If I just highlight the problems, it will be incomplete. Okay. So that is the message we need to take forward. Now let us make it a little interesting. Suppose I am a principal and I told my teacher, go and teach the student some skill. Let us say how to whistle, or any skill for that matter. You can relate it with the subject skill related to subject you teach. So I told them like I wanted him to be a messenger for Indian Army, and there are different types of whistles they blow to warn about the things. And I wanted to train them how to whistle, blow different types of whistles. I had a teacher who could blow 6 different types of whistles. आपने विसल शायद सुने होंगे, गांव में खेत में लोगों को बुलाने के लिए सीटी बजाई जाती थी, राइट। दोनों उंगलियां, कोई एक उंगली हाथ मुंह में डाल के, या कोई बिना उंगली के, ऐसे बहुत सारी तरह तरह की सीटी बजाई जा सकती है, राइट। सो आई टोल्ड माई टीचर जस्ट गो एंड टीच द स्टूडेंट हाउ टू विसल। टीचर वापस आए क्लास से, सर मैंने क्लास ले लिया और मैंने उनको बता दिया, डेमोन्स्ट्रेट भी कर लिया कि सीटी कैसे बजाना है, राइट। देन आई आस्क्ड हिम अ सिंपल क्वेश्चन, बट आई कांट हियर स्टूडेंट ब्लोइंग विसल्स। बच्चे सीटी बजा रहे, मुझे सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है। टीचर का जवाब क्या होगा? सर आई सेड आई taught how to blow a whistle. I didn't said that they have learned, right? So look at this scenario. Why this scenario? You need to reflect on yourself. What is happening in your class that you need to reflect? No one else. You are the right person to reflect on this. Okay. So let us move to next slide and understand what I mean by this. So if you look at all these previous issues, I call it, I'm a person of a software, and we study something called software development life cycle. It's a kind of project plan we have. Software kaise banta hai? So I compare it with that, and I came up with the typical student life cycle. Let me simply explain. It has only 2 stages. In between, there are many stages. You can understand from the different the curved lines I have put in there. So in first year, student अगर इंजीनियरिंग में एडमिशन लेता है, he feels like an engineer. लॉ में एडमिशन लेता है तो he feels like a lawyer. मेडिसिन में एडमिशन लेता है तो he feels like a doctor or a physician or surgeon, whatever the course he or she applies for. But second year में जाने तक पता चल जाता है that there is something called assignment, there is something called internal marks, there is something called final exam, and so on and so forth. ऐसा करते करते it reaches, the student reaches to the final year, and many of them qualify the exam and get a degree. But when they reach final year, I call them a confused student with degree, because they're not really sure. Let's say take an example of any field, computer again, whether to be a programmer, the analyst, or the designer, or coder, or tester, or software engineering, or the cyber security, or a blockchain. And there are so many things which we imparted on them. And I call them a confused student with degree. Do you think it's a scenario in your domain? Again, go back to the chart. Is this a similar typical student life cycle in your institutes? In first year, they're like an engineer, lawyer, doctor, scientist, whatever they are. Very good, Solanki sir. So first year में they feel like मुझे बहुत सब कुछ आता है, and final में पता चलता है मुझे कुछ नहीं आता. Okay. Okay, Purna madam, you're saying perfect picture. Sonali madam is saying yes. Let us move on. Don't worry. See, I am sharing my own thoughts about it. I'm not just highlighting the problems. As I said, I will be discussing a solution, and the not assumed solution which we applied. And then we'll be discussing how it is related to Indian knowledge system. Please be with me, and please be responsive. That encourages me that many of you are listening. Okay, so let us move on. Now, if you look at, there are various literature. I am talking about a known and traceable literature. The qualities of the student, how the student should be. It is very well defined. Kakachesta, Bakodanam, Swan Nidra, Tathaivacha, Swalpari, Gruvatagi, Vidyarthi, Panchalaksham. So this means these are the 5 qualities of the students. The Chatur like crow, Kauve jaisa Chatur. Focus like Bagula, Bakodanam. स्वान निद्रा, स्वान कुत्ते जैसी निद्रा, थोड़े से भी नॉइज पे तो नींद खुल जानी चाहिए. स्वल्प आहारी, पूरा पेट भर के खा के सोना, ये स्टूडेंट का लक्षण नहीं है, ऐसे बताया गया है. आई एम नॉट टेलिंग माय ओन थिंग्स, आई एम जस्ट ट्रांसलेटिंग दिस श्लोक. गृह त्यागी, मतलब घर छोड़ के बाहर जाना नहीं. When they are studying, he need to mentally disassociate from all the things, house and other surroundings. So these are the qualities of the student. Now, are we really nurturing these qualities? Now we'll start with the last point of the scenario, and then we'll jump on to the Indian knowledge system. Now there is a dispute whether this is a true article, whether it is really. Many of them, like I identified the latest news on Wire, is a online digital news channel, and they have the news in a recent past couple of years back, and there is, this is a social media article, and there can be a debate. उस वक्त टाइपिंग थोड़ी था, उस पर प्रिंटिंग थोड़ी था, प्रिंटेड पेपर थोड़ी आते थे, and whether it is true or not, that can be a point of a debate, that can be a point of contention, but I'm not getting into that. My agenda of looking at this picture is whatever is written, no matter when it is written, don't you think it is true even today? What Macaulay said, I have some references online of a British Parliament, and that references also points to that this article is somewhat true. If this was the case, and if you compare, assuming that, let us not debate on whether it is true or false, but we'll have some rational view of this particular article. Macaulay said that country was rich in culture. It was having a real good education system. They are very proud of their own education system. And if you, until and unless we replace their education system, we cannot break down the culture of this country. We need to train them in a such a way that they will feel whatever is offered in a Western world is superior to what they have. Don't you think that is somewhat scenario today? I'm not wanting to have your views whether the Macaulay said or this or not, but I would like to know your views whether this mindset is there today or not. Suppose you get one student who has done undergraduate, let's say in some foreign university, and the same degree another student done at SGBAU Amravati. Naturally, what is our tendency? Whom you will rate very high without assessing them even? Can I have answers? The student who have done the degree from foreign university or SGBU? I'm not asking your opinion, overall social opinion, how people perceive it. Foreign university, Dr. Gayatri ma'am is replying. Any other reply? What is the perception of a society as a whole? Foreign university, Dr. Balram sir is replying. Balram sir, you are very active. Thank you for being active and responsive. Vikas sir is from foreign university. So we have three answers, all three are saying. So doesn't it stands true, whatever he said? Don't you think there are real good teachers in Indian universities as well? They are putting their blood and sweat. We have super 30s like system. We have Vigyan Ashram like colleges in the country. But still, we have a mindset which makes us believe that the degrees are in foreign university. Again, this is a problem. Okay. Now, there are certain facts we need to pay attention to. Again, it is recorded facts, verifiable into online documents of the Wikipedia as well as the British Parliament with reliable references. The Macaulay stated in the Parliament that in only Bengal province, there were 250,000 schools. Vishakhapatnam school was famous for steel making when the world was not knowing anything about the steel. Kangra was famous for medicine and surgery when the world was following the Hippocratic system. We were talking about medicine and surgery, and there were more than 16 different types of surgery. Even we don't do 16 different surgery types. I'm talking about like your robotic surgery, excision surgery, and the correction surgery. So like this, there were 16 different types of surgery that were in practice. Literacy, I want to draw your attention. Literacy rate was 97%. Okay, so these are the few facts we need to pay attention to. I think it is evident from many things. If you refer the resources, you will find that many of the numbers or the claims made in these slides are reliable and true. What went wrong? If this was our culture, this was our tradition, this was our rich heritage, what happened? What went to wrong? What happened? Why we are into current phase? If I'll give you a couple of minutes to look at the picture and draw your inferences and then respond in a chat whether this is true or not. What do you think about it? This is what has happened. Consider the last picture on the right, where the person is taking rest in the shelter built by cutting the tree, is what we have been made to believe. And the top left, where the person is taking rest under the tree, is our original culture. What do you think? Did we transition from our original culture to this capitalism culture? Do you agree on this picture? What is your opinion? Can you please share in the chat? Anybody can unmute and speak. So I'll really appreciate if somebody want to unmute and speak. Nikhil sir, you want to say something?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. So can I have some responses? Yes, I agree. Vikas sir, again, as usual, thank you, Balram sir. Sonali ma'am is also responded yes. So this is one change that had happened. Now slowly get into scenario. Jinke sir is also replying yes. Yeah, many of I think who have responded agrees to this. That is Nikhil sir, I think you have a different view. That's okay. We respect your opinion. Okay. Now, fill in the blank with your own institute or the best on your knowledge. What is a true university? Let's define it. And this is a random definition. No? I'm not referring to any particular university or particular institute, but try to fill in with your own institute or the best university you know. The institute or college was established, name of the institute, let's say a particular name, established in this and this year. However, for last, let's say 10 years, the university or college had not produced a single thought leader of international repute. Is it not a surprise? Evaluate yourself, reflect on yourself. We have 4 crore students going to the universities, more than 1,000 universities, more than few thousand colleges. How many colleges you can put in the post statements? You reflect on yourself. Don't need answer for this. आप खुद सोचिए कि कितने कॉलेज के ऊपर ये लागू होता है, right? Then second statement, the university or college was established in year so and so. It has 100 alumni, let's say, has secured Nobel Prize or any prize of that repute, has developed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 products that has reached to every household in our country, or has established a business which has employed minimum 10,000 or more citizens. Just try to fit in the institute you know or your own institute into the second statement as well. And you yourself identify where we stand. Are we on the right path? You need to evaluate. I don't want to comment, but we all are learned and we know the scenario, where we can fit in and where we don't fit in, right? So with this thought, let us move on. Now let us, this is a scenario which I presented. I drawn some certain points on the canvas and then I presented to the current scenario, right from predictive world to education system. We have covered up the scenario that we live into, the technology driven era, what we call it as a technology driven era, the attention span of those kind of students, kind of institutes, professors. We try to cover the take a holistic view of the scenario in our, not only academics but overall scenario, right? So any queries so far? Any question till this point? Anybody, any suggestion, any addition, any doubt, any other opinion so far? Anyone? No? So silence I will take as no. Because sir said, okay. Now let us dive into IKS, Indian Knowledge System. Many times it is referred as ancient Indian wisdom. Right? So some hard facts, that is how the IKS or Indian Knowledge System or ancient Indian wisdom is pursued. It's a mythology. That's one thought. Do you think it's a mythology? How many of you believe that? There is some class which believes that it is all about God and religion and the spiritual things. I separate religious and spiritual thing. Maybe we can have a separate lecture on the what is religious and what is spiritual. I don't want to get it into this today. There is a if you talk to the young minds of the country, we are known as the youngest nation in the world by the parameter, the average age of the people. They are average. We have highest working class compared to any other country in the world. The long list of do's and don'ts. There is a prescription. ये करना है, ये नहीं करना है, ऐसे नहीं करना है, ऐसे कपड़े पहनना है, ये खाना है, ये नहीं खाना है, मंदिर जाना है, मस्जिद जाना है. So what this is what how we perceive it. Long list of do's and don't. Particularly, again, I'm sharing my experience, and that is the perception of the youth. Some experienced people say it's a matter of blind faith. It's not so scientific. Particularly this is my experience with the teaching community or the learned people. They feel that it's unscientific. Let us take a warrior. Keep this as a fifth bookmark. That is how it is being pursued, and many of you might be having somewhat similar or different opinion than this. So let us understand what actually it was. Let me give one. Everybody is listening me? Am I audible? This is just to
Yes,
check
sir.
if
Yes,
you are
sir.
there or just
Yes,
logged
sir.
in. Gayatri madam just responded yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have something called oral tradition. If you talk about ancient Indian education system or Indian knowledge system, for example, गांव में कोई आपने देखा होगा दादी जी दादाजी जिनको मालूम था कि पीलिया होने के बाद में कौन से पेड़ का पत्ते का रस देना है या क्या देना है, वो उन्होंने कहीं पे लिख के नहीं रखा. They it was transferred orally. Likewise, lots of medicine were orally passed on. Shruti parampara. What do you think? It's good or bad? Can somebody have their opinion on the Shruti parampara? What do you think? Is it good or Mokhi parampara? Yes, Madhuri madam is saying. Vikas feels it's bad. Okay, because he might feel that it doesn't leave the evidences. Sureka madam feels it's good. Okay. So what do you think? Why this the tradition, Shruti parampara, or the oral tradition? What's the reason for this oral tradition? Let me share my perspective on it. Everybody believe that knowledge is a power. You believe that having knowledge of something or knowledge is something is like a power, or if you have a knowledge, you have some power in the world. Okay, I think some of you responded. Yes, yes. Dr. Gayatri, Dr. Vikas, you responded yes. So imagine power is with the person who is not having ethics. Let's compare the power. Thank you. The power, if it is in wrong hand. Let us take a simple analogy in real life. Imagine an Indian soldier holding a gun and replace an Indian soldier with a terrorist. He is holding the same gun. Yes, please. Okay, I think it was by mistake. Okay, so now we considered knowledge as a power since the ancient time. If the power is with the person without a moral or ethics, जैसे कि कोई बाहुबली इमेजिन करिए जिनके पास में वैल्यू एथिक्स नहीं है लेकिन बहुत बॉडी बिल्डर है, रास्ते के बीच में गाड़ी खड़ा रह के बोलता है बाजू में जा. Everyone, yes. Madhav Khillare sir is responding to that. I'm not really able to draw some inference out of it, what you mean by this. But anyway, thank for responding. So if the power is with the wrong person, if you give the powers in the wrong hands, I think if you look at the national and global scenario, if the power goes to the wrong person, I'm not referring to any political situation. I'm referring to in general real life scenarios. So it always ends in disaster. Now, if there is a book, can you ensure that it will be the जिस जो वही read करेगा उसको जिसके पास में values, moral ethics है, or anybody can read this? Is there any control on reading the book who can read it? So what they have done, they have ensured the integrity of the person first, then they have transport the knowledge. मैं मेरा example बताता हूँ. My grandfather was knowing lot of remedies for the diseases of the kids as well as the animals, particularly cow and bullock and buffalo. I tried to learn that from him many times. He used to say, "आप पढ़े लिखे लोग हो, you will make a money out of it, and it's not for making money, it's for making people happy, helping people to solve their issues, health issues." Look at this, how noble thought it is. And that was there with every practitioner, जिसको हम वैद्य बोलते थे ना गांव में. उसने कभी भी ऐसे नॉलेज डायरेक्टली शेयर नहीं किया. अगर आज हमें पता चला इस झाड़ के पत्ते से ये बीमारी ठीक होती है, the next day all those trees will be vanished and stored in somebody's house, and you will start a scheme. 50 रुपए में ये डिसीज क्योर करो, 500 रुपए में डिसीज क्योर करो, something like that. So that is what I mean by values, moral and ethics. Don't you think that are missing today in current education system, in our current trainings? So reflect on yourself. No need to reply. Again, there is a modern world which says that everything is fair in love and war. Let me give one analogy here. Was it the case with the Indian knowledge system? Read it out and then you draw your own conclusion whether we believe that everything is fair in love and war. Was this a scenario in India? I'm not talking about the ancient spiritual granthas and Vedas and all those. I'm talking about the written and known history of Shivaji Maharaj. He defeated the governor of Bijapur near Kallan, Mullah Ahmad. Very beautiful daughter-in-law of Mullah Ahmad was taken captive by Maharaj Sardar Abaji Sondev. Then Abaji sent her to Shivaji Maharaj. उन्होंने महाराज के पास भेजा ये सोच के कि महाराज खुश हो जाएंगे, इतनी ब्यूटीफुल लेडी उनको गिफ्ट में मिली. Right? It is a written history. I'm not talking about anything else like some ancient fact. But what Shivaji Maharaj did with the lady, I think it's a history. Everybody known, it is known to everyone. Maharaj not only like re-permitted the Sardar, but after due apologies to the lady and honoring her in the best possible way and offering the gifts, he sent her back to her home in Bijapur with an escort, and the statement everybody knows that हम अगर आपके जैसे सुंदर, हमारी माता जी अगर आपके जैसे सुंदर होती तो हम भी सुंदर होते. इसका मतलब शिवाजी महाराज देखने में अच्छे नहीं थे, ये नहीं है. That is the meaning taken by most of the people. But the real meaning of these statements, you need to read between the lines that he honored a lady as his mother. That's what we need to learn. This is the incidence of the war. So if you have this tradition, written history, known history, don't you think there was lots of values and ethics in everything we did in the real life? Right? So that is our Indian culture. Don't you think it is required, highly required today? Do you think it is required today? How many of you feel it is required today? Yes, Swati madam is replying. Ashish amchi mata asti sundar rupavati, ami sundar zalo asto vadle chhatrapati. Thank you madam for sharing this. जिजाबाईंनी दिलेले संस्कार आहेत. Desperately required. That is what Surek madam is saying. So what does that underlines? So that means the Indian knowledge system, Dr. Balram sir has also responded here, has not only empowered the people with knowledge, it has not only helped them reveal the true person within you, but it is at the same time, it has imparted the values, ethics, and morals into a person. And that is how the Swarajya was made. So this is known history. I know this example, but I think there are many such cases you must have found in Indian culture. Nowadays, I would say in rural India, urban India is quite modern, and there are different types of. I'm not criticizing anything. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm against urban area and I'm pro rural area. I'm just giving you the thoughts, the kind of the culture heritage we practice in rural India is somewhat comparable to this. In even many cities, in many colonies, you might find this. I'm not saying that it's not there in the cities. Okay. So another fact I want to put it into why we want IKS to be taught to the students. This is the world statistic of World Economic Forum, historical statistic. If you look at the export percentage contribution of India into global GDP, world's GDP, it was more than 30% till the Battle of Plassey, around 30%. Nowadays, I am not having courage to put the figures. So this is again reported literature, known fact. This is about our working age population and what we are offering them, the kind of education system. So I'll now let us see the transition that has happened for different things, from telephone to the smartphone. This was the first model of the telephone, and now you reach to a certain level where you have telephones like this, and very soon we'll have a telephone like this in our hand, maybe 5 years down the line. Okay, to some extent they are being into reality. The agriculture, I think how many of you, I don't know how many of you know the equipments that are used, जसे की चाळं, सरतं, उन्हाऱ्या, टिपणकरी, जू, पारोळं, चाळं. I'm just naming the things which I see in the picture. This has transformed from the picture on the left to the picture on right. I think many of you know this very well, right? So this is how the agriculture has been transformed. But if you look at the classroom, except the installation of a digital board, where we teach like our kids, our father, mother, or our grandparents, I think we all are studying in the similar classroom, except few changes where we write whether on a digital board or the blackboard or something else. This is the classroom. Do you need to evolve? Now, why ethics and moral? Why Indian knowledge system or Indian system, Indian culture has a lot of emphasis on the ethics and values along with the knowledge. इस पिक्चर में आप देखेंगे missing ethics, missing values, missing skill, what it leads to. The example on the top right, you have did the crime, but don't waste your time. Call, dial this particular number. If you have done a crime, that means I'll help you to run away from that crime, run away from the punishment. Just call this. What do you think missing here? The picture, I don't want to show the face because I don't think the person deserves this to be made a hero. Now, we have, if the power and the weapon is replaced by moral and is coupled with moral and ethics, this is how the person can transform from this to this. I think Rifleman Jaswant Singh Rawat, many of you would be knowing him very well. Just type in Google 72 hours. A single man fought with the Chinese entire battalion, killed many of them, and the way he has used his knowledge, power, and ethics and values to safeguard the country. Right? So that's why it is badly needed. Now, this you read, and I think I need not to explain it much. I'll skip this in the interest of time. Let's now get into hardcore Indian knowledge system. As we agreed so far that knowledge is power based on various things we have discussed. Power is used to control. Indian knowledge talks about controlling self. This is a big statement. You need to really reflect. Educated person controls the others or it controls self, exercises a self-control. There are various kind of, this are altogether different topics, so I'll not talk much. But Indian knowledge system, if you have power, you need to have a self-control like Shivaji Maharaj. You need to have self-control like many other examples you might have seen in and around. The powerful people protecting the weaker part of the society. That is what I mean by self-control. Then the Indian knowledge system also talks about in the depth about freedom from wants. I think this the economist here would differentiate between freedom from wants and needs, or they can differentiate very well between wants and need. What you need and what are your wants. Garza and apeksha. Freedom to create surplus. The modern education system or modern culture allows us to create surplus. And it allows you to cheat to certain extent, like advertising. Particular cream लगा के गोरा होना. मैंने बहुत कोशिश की लेकिन नहीं हुआ. Like many of you might have also tried, especially girls. किसी एक ब्रांड की वजह से उनको लगता था हम गोरे हो गए. But it didn't happen. So that is what the modern science allows, but the Indian knowledge system doesn't permit this. Let us dive deep into Indian knowledge system. I'm skipping the slide in between. You can just have a look at those slides, and at the end, if you have some question, we'll discuss on this. But in the interest of time, I'll skip some of the slides. Okay. So let us get into a Indian knowledge system. So far, so good. Any queries? Any suggestion? Any recommendation? Yeah, Dr. Madhuri, you named it. As this lecture is going in a public domain, I don't wanted to name it. That's the only reason. Thanks for pointing out anyway. Any questions so far? Now, I want everybody's attention. I want everybody to be focused because we'll be discussing the crux of the today's session, the primary purpose of today's session. So please be attentive, please be responsive, and try to respond to everything which I ask in a chat. There is no right and wrong opinion. As I said earlier, there is no right and wrong answer. We are just sharing each other's perspective. You may have a different perspective, I may have a different perspective of same thing. So there can be multiple perspective for one thing. Okay, so let us dive into Indian knowledge system. Here is a pickle. मेरी दादी जी ऐसी पिकल बनाती थी. I think this story applies to many of you attending session today out of 68 in Zoom or some on YouTube. मेरी दादी ऐसे पिकल बनाती थी बिना कोई एक्सटर्नल प्रिजर्वेटिव, सिर्फ मोहरी, हल्दी और नमक, ये चीज 3-4 चीजें यूज करके वो कम से कम 2 साल प्रिजर्व होता था. कम से कम 2 साल. आई एम सेइंग आई हैव एक्सपीरियंस्ड इट. आई एम नॉट टेलिंग यू एनीथिंग व्हिच इज लाइक ओरल ट्रेडिशन. दिस इज व्हाट आई एक्सपीरियंस्ड. लेकिन वो अचार बनाने का उनका तरीका ऐसा था कि आम कब तोड़ना है, कौन से पेड़ के तोड़ने हैं, पहला प्रोसेस हल्दी का करना है या नमक का करना है या मोहरी का करना, राई का करना है, वॉट एवर यू कॉल इट एज, कितने देर तक करना है. एवरीथिंग वॉज प्रिस्क्राइब्ड थ्रू ओरल ट्रेडिशन. उनके सासू मान या मम्मी ने उनको बताया था. दैट इज हाउ इट वाज ट्रांसपोर्ट. नाउ आई सर्च्ड some article about this pickle, Lonsa. To my surprise, I came up with the interesting article, a recent one. The article is published in reputed journal, Journal of Food and Science, Scopus Index Journal. The article says, इस तरीके से बना है पिकल जिसमें प्रीबायोटिक एंड प्रोबायोटिक होता है. मतलब it aids your digestion and function of entire ADME process, metabolic activity. It stimulates your metabolic activity. It helps you in digestion. Right? So हमने क्या किया, ये पिकल को मशीन के थ्रू बनाना शुरू किया. बड़े मुश्किल से फ्रिज के बाहर वो कुछ महीने टिकता है. So do you think it is possible without in-depth understanding of science behind the microorganism to preserve microorganism which aids digestion? Without this knowledge, was it possible? Do you think there is a in-depth science in this? Without science, it can't happen. So we have a modern science made pickles today with lots of synthetic preservative and synthetic material. Still, the ladies here specifically can respond to this question. How many days you can keep it outside the fridge without getting fungus? फ्रिज के बाहर कितने दिन रख सकते हैं बिना फंगस लगे? I want some answers. Even the males can respond. मैंने इसलिए बोला ladies. I am not like stereotyping. मतलब हम मेल्स लोगों को खाना पता है, ये प्रिजर्व करना बहुत कम लोगों को पता है. Yes, Gayatri madam, whatsoever reason, the veggies and fruits are not organic, but I agree with you, they are not organic. 3 to 4 days, I'm assuming that it's months, but I think Dr. Manisha and Chitaja madam is saying this is just a few days, it will catch the fungus. So don't you think we need to understand science behind it, how the pickle was made, आम कब कट करने थे, कौन कैसे भिगोने थे, कितनी देर पानी में रखना था, कितनी देर नमक में रखना था, एवरीथिंग वाज प्रिस्क्राइब्ड. Even today, if you take these recipes, you will made a pickle which will last almost 2 years out of fridge, but you need to follow it. So I see a lot of science, I see a lot of research, innovation into just making a pickle. I'm taking simple example in day-to-day's life. That's what the Indian knowledge system. Don't you think that is need to be involved in modern food processing industries? Don't you think it is required, this wisdom? I'll not call it just a knowledge, it's a wisdom which is carried away from the centuries together from ancient Indian times, right? Which ought to be made. ये कौन से बर्तन में रखना है? आजकल आप पिकल अगर स्टील के बर्तन में लगते हैं, उसमें छेद पड़ जाते हैं 6 महीने बाद, 7 महीने बाद. They were knowing a metallurgy. They were knowing the chemistry. कहाँ पे रखना चाहिए, right? So there is a lot of knowledge of chemistry, not lot of in-depth knowledge of chemistry, in-depth knowledge of material science, जिसको हम बोलते हैं बहुत मॉडर्न है आजकल. मटेरियल में हम काफी प्रोग्रेस कर लिए, but still we are not able to make the suitable material pot for this better than this. So you need to reflect and compare where were we compared to so-called modern world with chemistry, food preservation, the material science, health. I see everything in this single pickle, simplest pickle at which was made at every house. So हर घर अगर इतना मॉडर्न था तो सोचो जो एडवांस चीजें होगी वो किस लेवल पे होगी. Now, iron and steel. This is again reported literature. Sushruta has made the surgical instruments, and you will find that most of them are very similar to what we call modern surgical equipments. They are very similar to and rust-free instruments. That means I see a metallurgy, I see a physics in designing those instruments, I see a material science, I can see a lot of you name the science and I can see some examples here, right? So this is the IKS, Indian Knowledge System. Now, last year we have celebrated the International Year of Millet. I would like to draw attention of everybody. I'll break from the presentation for a couple of minutes. Now I want to show you some website. I think each one of you should refer that website to feed healthy food to your family. Let me share the screen and then I'll search in front of you so that all of you can include that into your day-to-day life. So somebody please confirm when you see my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'll search the website Dr. Khader Wali. Unfortunately, बहुत सारे लोगों को ये नाम भी नहीं पता होता है हमें. So Dr. Khader Wali, here is the website. And he has a book as well. I'm opening this website. The website is Manavta. And it's not now. इन्होंने अभी डिस्कवर नहीं किया इंटरनेशनल ईयर ऑफ मिलेट डिस्कवर होने के बाद में. It's there for a couple of decades. Okay. Now, if you have a look at the findings, and these are all experimental findings, not taken from any book, not derived from anywhere, through practice. So he has something called Shri Dhanya, SHRI Dhanya. And he has a recipe. Shri Dhanya is nothing but a blended millets, blend of different kinds of millet. And he has a prescription for creating various curing various health conditions in different languages. So he has the recipes for almost in his book. I'm not promoting his book, but I think it's a good thing to talk about something which is beneficial to everyone. Okay. So he has all the recipes to cure all what we call the chronic illnesses through food, through millets. And that's why we need to celebrate Year of Millet. That's Indian knowledge. Now, is scientifically reported in various journals. I'm not talking anything which is not verifiable scientifically. Now I'll take you to our knowledge base. I hope my slide are now visible. खारोळ्या पापड्या मुंगवळ्या सगळ्यांनी मला वाटतं तुमच्यापैकी खाल्लेल्या असतील. All of you must have consumed these items which you see in the picture. I'm talking about particularly Maharashtra and Vidarbha region. So why I'm not like fan of some particular region, but why I'm saying this, because हमारी country की diversity इतनी है. If you stand at any place, travel 100 kilometers in any direction, you will find different food, different language, and different people and different culture. So we called diversity and just ignore this. No, it's not that only. It's a rich culture and science. Every 100 kilometers, there is a change in weather, soil, and environment, and we need to adapt to those changes and modify our lifestyle accordingly, including food. That was known to us. That's why you have different food and habits and culture at different places. If you do the analytics of this, what we call kharolya, papla, kuroda, whatever you have named it as, in your respective region, you will find that they are full of nutrition. They never had deficiencies like hemoglobin, folic acid. NFSS 5 का सर्वे मैं आपको अगर दिखाऊं, नेशनल हेल्थ एंड नेशनल फैमिली हेल्थ सर्वे 5, इसमें ये रिपोर्ट हुआ है एनीमिया is 60% minimum, approximately 60% across country. ये जब हम खाते तभी कभी एनीमिया होता नहीं था, किसी का हेमोग्लोबिन प्लेटलेट कम नहीं होता था, सब किसी को एसिडिटी इतने फ्रिक्वेंटली नहीं होता था जितना आज होता है. ठीक है, आजकल तो 10-12 साल बच्चों को, 4 साल के बच्चों को भी एसिडिटी होता है. जहां तक मुझे खुद को 30 साल का होने तक एसिडिटी किसको कैसे होता है यही पता नहीं था. एंड दिस वुड बी एप्लीकेबल टू मेनी ऑफ यू हियर. Right? This was our food culture. Do you think it is possible without science and the technology or the knowledge or in-depth understanding of the food technology and the human body, what we digest and और ये ऐसा कभी नहीं था कि कभी भी आपको सब कोई भी आइटम कभी भी खाया जा सकता है. The atom was specialized for a particular season. What to use in summer, what to use in winter, what to eat into rainy season, everything was defined. Quantity, quality, and time, and everything. Do you think it is possible without science involved in, without knowledge, without ancient wisdom? Even the modern medicine. How many of you agree that modern medicine doesn't have, or modern science, whatever science, medicine, agriculture, whatever, doesn't have this depth even today? Do you agree? Time to respond in the chat. And just referring to the Indian kitchen and see how rich they are. I don't have any response so far. Does that mean nobody is listening? Okay, I have few responses. Old is gold. Balram sir saying yes. Okay, Rakhi madam is saying is old is gold. Okay. Okay. So now I want responses from everyone. I requested all of you to be with me for this IKS. It's not for attending session or getting a certificate from our modern MMC center SGBAU. But we really need to understand, look at from this angle, we need to really understand what was our cultural heritage. Remember the bookmarks I added. One was Macaulay's bookmark. Did we ignored in रेडीमेड आजकल इंस्टेंट नूडल्स के जमाने में हम सब ये भूलते जा रहे. सो फॉर दिस पर्सपेक्टिव प्लीज पे अटेंशन. सो हियर आर द एग्जांपल्स. शायद मुंह में पानी आ जाएगा बहुत सारे लोगों के, बट ये कब खाना था पर्टिकुलरली विंटर सीजन में to boost the immunity, and you will find thousands of research paper, even journals like in Nature published based on this Indian food. and modern people are saying that we have discovered this. This is our tradition. ये हमारे घर के दादी नानी को भी पता था. Don't you think we have a rich culture and heritage to follow? Okay. So these are the scientific findings. ये हम जो खाते थे, अगर जिन्होंने शायद जिनको याद है 15-20 साल पहले हम गेहूं की रोटी कितनी बार खाते थे, ये टेबल देख लीजिए और खुद डिसाइड करिए हम कौन से डायरेक्शन में जा रहे हैं. Okay, so this is from Kadarwali, the link which I already shown you. ये तो शायद मुझे लगता है कितने लोगों को ये क्रॉप पहचान में भी आएगा, आई एम डाउटफुल. Kangni is the Hindi name, but Maharashtra, particularly in Vidarbha, and that too in Washim district, we used to call is bharda. Bhardyaचा भात अशी काहीतरी म्हण होती. Okay, so if you look at the food we eat, there are some positive grains. Positive in a sense, they are nutritional values. There are neutral grains in terms of their nutritional value, and there are negative grain, they impact us negatively. आपको इससे पता चल जाए कि आपको एसिडिटी क्यों होता है, आपको डायबिटीज क्यों हो रहा है. If you look at this, you yourself analyze and reflect हम क्या खा रहे हैं और हम हमारी जो current health status है वो क्यों है. This is the Indian culture. This is the Indian knowledge base. This is our heritage. This is our ancient wisdom. Now, ask the modern world and check out this positive negative. I think you will find it in thousands of literature papers, so-called reputed and citation and all whatnot. You name, yeah. Right. So I think I have two answers: Bhadli, Bhardi. That's how it changes over the distance. Every 100 kilometers, you will have different names to the same thing, right? So that is our culture. And if you look at this, those who are farmers 20 years back, were farmers 20 years back, उनको मराठी में मुझे इंग्लिश में उसका याद नहीं है, हिंदी में नहीं मालूम, याचे आळतास राहायचे. प्रत्येक शेताला याचे आळतास असायचे. When you finish sowing, the last the line of sowing, we used to have this millet and we used to consume that throughout in a different season of the year. So it was produced at every house. कुठे काय पेरायचं, that was a science we were knowing, right? So this is the culture we have. This is the Indian knowledge system we need to practice. Don't you think the agriculture should teach this? I'll tell you the surprising fact that we are losing. Everybody should listen this carefully. It's not for the FDP certificate. It's not for teaching student. It's for to be practiced by each one of us, that we are losing 80% micronutrient farm to plate. खेत से लेकर हमारे प्लेट तक आने तक हम 80% न्यूट्रिएंट्स गवा रहे हैं. ये मेरा नंबर नहीं है, ये रिपोर्टेड नंबर है. कैसे खाना बनाना ये भी हमें ठीक से नहीं आता है, क्योंकि हम उसमें अप टू 50% माइक्रोन्यूट्रिएंट लूज कर रहे हैं. So should we call ourselves modern system or go back to our roots? You need to decide yourself, right? So oh, Swati ma'am, you brought some interesting findings. आता है low bird साठी विकत मिळतं. I was not knowing this. Thank you for the addition. Okay, so this is, now let us move on. आजकल सरकारें गिरी जाती है टोमेटो ओनियन के प्राइस पे, उस पे स्ट्राइक्स होते, राइट्स होते, राइट? बट हमने गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने रिसेंटली वैलोराइजेशन ऑफ टोमेटो एंड ओनियन, आई थिंक जो बायोटेक्नोलॉजी लोग उन्होंने ये स्कीम सुनी होगी. मतलब टोमेटो और ओनियन के प्रिजर्व करने के लिए गवर्नमेंट में कई करोड़ का फंडिंग अनाउंस किया था. I don't know how many of you have gone through this scheme. I don't have that expertise, but I felt after reading the scheme, I should have applied. Let's see the Indian wisdom about this, Indian tradition about tomato and onion. I'll just simply show you the pictures. Dehydrated vegetables. हे मला वाटतं उसऱ्या, मला माहित नाही किती लोकांना आठवेल आता, but I think that was in every house. In Amravati, I think they call it as khulya. In other district, I think it would be known by a different name. This was level of food preservation. 2 साल का अकाल भी हम आसानी से झेल जाते थे. कोई कुछ कोविड शायद उस टाइम आया होता तो कोई भी घर के बाहर नहीं निकलता, किसी के दाम नहीं बढ़ते, हर एक के पास में 1 साल का फूड घर में ही स्टोर था. So this is, I think we in Washim district we called is kangi, which is made of nirguli plant stems coated with cow dung. मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूं कि आप ये बनाइए घर पे, काऊ डंग और निर्गुड़ी प्लांट का ये कंगी बनाइए, स्टोरेज टैंक बनाइए. बट थिंग विच आई वांट टू ब्रिंग टू योर नोटिस, इसमें रखे ऊपर से क्लोज किया जाता था इसको, एंड जो इंसेक्ट्स आजकल के आपके हाईली इक्विप्ड हाईली मॉडर्न स्टोरेज टैंक में लग जाते हैं, बहुत सारे केमिकल ट्रीटमेंट के बाद में इसमें सालों तक नहीं लगते थे. मैंने मेरे गांव में एक पेव देखा. पेव मीन्स द एंशियंट स्टोरेज सिस्टम फॉर द विलेज इन केस ऑफ इमरजेंसी. सपोज 4-5 साल बारिश नहीं हुई, दे यूज्ड टू स्टोर द ग्रेन्स फॉर द विलेज by digging like a big spot they call pave into some place in village, and having such a treatment, it stays there for at least 100 years. Why I'm saying this? Again, I'm sharing my experience. I'm not telling you any assumption. By accident, while constructing my house, we broke into a pave. I asked my Dadaji, do you know about it? My Dadaji lived for 110 years, sorry, 109 years and died in 2017. I asked him, did you know who has digged out this pave and stored the grains? He said, no. Even my grandfather doesn't know about this. It is before that. Then we excavated entire material and we could find there was some bajra and jawar still few percent, like it's less than 2%. Rest was like, but in after hundreds of years, we could preserve some percentage of grains. I think that's a big technology. So what I'm not saying that you go prepare this, but वो निर्गुड़ी के plants की क्या characteristic है जिसकी वजह से it acts as an insect repellent, या काऊ डंग की क्या properties है जो आपके धान को, आपके ग्रेन्स को खराब होने से बचाती है. You search it out and apply that for in with a modern technology. That's my point. I'm not trying to take you into this, right? So this is not possible without knowing science of food preservation. This is not possible without having a real wisdom. आगे अकाल भी पड़ सकता है, उसके लिए हमें प्रोविजन करना है. This is not possible without strategic planning. You see a management, you see a food preservation, you see science, health, everything in the single picture. So that's why we need to bring into IKS into our regular curriculum. We were so rich culturally and in that aspect, from every aspect. So one of my friend, Satyajit Hange, I'm not marketing his brand, but I think he has the different way of ancient way. He is making a ghee in ancient way. जहाँ पे हम in Marathi, I don't again know the English words. I'll use Marathi. उसको विरजन लावणे म्हणतात. ते विरजन लावून त्याचं रवी लावायची and then bring out the ghee. He is selling it as more than 10,000 rupees per kg, because he has all reports of the labs which says that all the parameters are way much more than the in modern ghee making process. It's not about food, science, and health. It's about everything as well. You consider any walk of a life and you'll find we were superior. But there is a problem. You find the superiority and the problem in the same picture. There is a philosopher, a darshanik in Europe, which you see on the right. I'm not, let's say, criticizing the philosopher. His name is Michioli. He was there. He had some theories of economics and the politics and like Chanakya. Now, notably, the Chanakya has came with a similar theory 370 BC, and Michioli came up with the same theory in 14th century. See the gap, time gap is very significant, right? But instead of calling Michioli as European Chanakya, we call Chanakya as Indian Michioli. So I think you got the thing which I'm read between the line and try and understand what I'm trying to say. So this is the problem. Despite of having everything, I feel Raki madam is saying that she has seen the pave. Virjan Vikas sir, yeah. So this is what we are missing out. This is what we are missing out. Please understand what we are missing out. I'll clarify this in next few slides. Okay. So like this is not a one case. There are so many. There are so many. Okay. I would like to show you the statement by the Eliot, T.S. Eliot. He was a well-known philosopher, right? Now, his statement, because why I'm saying this to you, I think I need not to explain. You are clever enough to understand what I'm trying to say. इंडियन भारतीय दार्शनिक जो है, भारतीय दार्शनिक की सूक्ष्मताओं को देखते हुए यूरोप के अधिकांश महान दार्शनिक स्कूल के बच्चे ऐसे लगते. Means our knowledge, you consider any domain and modern European knowledge, you will get a feel that they are nothing in front of Indian knowledge. It's not my statement. Yeah, I have added all the references which I would like to give, right? So this is what the Indian knowledge system is. That's why now you decide, should we bring that into your mainstream education, or you keep it as a sideline, as a tradition, myth, mythology? I think I answered a few of these questions which I promised you. This music, power of healing. If you take a screenshot, I'll not get into, because I'm talking much of health. I want to talk other fields as well. You take a screenshot. The Indian music has a power of healing a disease, and that was there in a music. See, even the music has a lot of science into it. You visit this darbar.org, and let me tell you that many university hospitals in US and Europe have started with the division called music therapy. We are just restricted. वो लोगों ने यहाँ पे प्रोग्रेस किया, हम लोगों ने, मैंने लास्ट लाइन अगर देखेंगे, हमने म्यूजिक को डीजे तक लाके खड़ा किया है. So what we need to understand, that's why we need to bring the Indian knowledge system. अगर डीजे के सिस्टम कंपेयर करेंगे, मैंने रामायण महाभारत तो पर्सनली देखी नहीं, टीवी पे जो देखा, उसमें जो राक्षस होते हैं, वो राक्षस और डीजे पे नाचने वाले, शादी का प्रोग्राम हो, कोई लोग, आप कंपेयर कीजिए एंड यू टेल मी व्हाट यू फील, राइट? सो म्यूजिक को हमने हीलिंग से लेकर डिसीज क्रिएटर बना दिया. We need to think about it. That's what the Indian knowledge system has. This is a power of. Here is a yoga, recent. Don't connect with any personality. It's an Indian tradition. It's Indian culture. Don't connect it with any religion. That's how, like, these are the bad habits we all have to some extent. Don't take it personally, but who should launch this course? The Indian university. You see the name of the university, engineering school in US, coming with the course Introduction to Yoga and Physiology. And you have millions of subscribers. You look at the number. And many of them are Indian. That's the power of Indian knowledge system. They're directly connected with the physiology. And here are the some literature. The Frontiers in Science, that's one of the leading journal. The Molecule of Silence, Effect of Medicine on Gene and Expression of Epigenetics. I think I'll not get into what is epigenetics because it's a niche topic in biotechnology. जो जीन बिना म्यूटेशन के अलग अलग फंक्शन करते हैं, that's basically study of epigenetics, right? Same person एक बॉस के अंदर अलग काम करता है, दूसरे बॉस के अंदर अलग काम करता है. That's your individual epigenetics. So what are those factors which you make perform better in certain cases? That's a study of epigenetics, and it is linked with the meditation. Okay, so we were knowing the genetic engineering. Without this, such practices are not possible. So here you have the references to Indian system. Okay, here are a few examples, and for this course you have more than lakhs of students who have enrolled, and many of Indian giving a very good feedback. Okay, so it is by Stanford University ने किया. I'm not questioning their ability, their credibility. Don't misunderstand me. लेकिन हमारे घर के दादी जी को ये पता था. We call it tradition. Stanford करता है तो science, innovation. So you need to reflect. You need to give a thought to it. So in that sense, our dadi or nani should be considered graduate, Stanford graduate for this food and health. If you look at this, right? So that is how I think that's why we need to bring in this Indian knowledge system into our mainstream education. It's not about the spirituology and mythology. Okay, if you look at this finding, जो दादी जी को पता था एकादश का उपवास करना चाहिए, don't relate it to the religion. उपवास करना चाहिए, हमारा culture है. Do you know that the fasting ignites the cell, the phase called autophagy, which kills the harmful cell itself? It acts as a treatment for a cancer. The chances of getting cancer is very less those who are fasting, right? So person have won the Nobel Prize for this, and our Dadiji was knowing this. Naniji was knowing this. So is it a scientific or not? You decide. I'm not going to comment on this. Okay. Can you name the place? Anyone? Again, there is no right and wrong answer for this. Yeah, I got a first answer. Very good. Thank you, Vikas sir. It's Jantar Mantar. Vikas sir, if you can unmute and speak up what is Jantar Mantar for the information of all of us, I'll appreciate, if possible.
Sir, it is the mathematical equations solving method at that ancient time.
Okay. Mathematical equation regarding what? If you can tell us.
I think it is about height, length, and
is it about planetary motion? Okay, thank you, Vikas sir. Yes. Thank you for bringing up. You are absolutely right. It represents certain calculations, some mathematical equation. And Maharaja Pone create kiya hua hai also in 15th century. Again, don't I'm very bad at the timings and the dating the things. So yeah, 17th century. This was Maharaja Savai Jai Singh. So he has installed this at 5 places. One is in Delhi. Unfortunately, we know Jantar Mantar for different reasons. Many of us knows the original history of Jantar Mantar. This construction and their shadows. Yes, Sanjay sir, you are absolutely right. It's about astronomy. This shadow estimates the, the position of the various planetary objects of our interest, like our solar system and other universe in a space with respect to the shadow. Where is different, where are the different planet, position of sun, everything can be, even the illiterate person can understand this looking at the shadow. I request you to visit the website of Jantar Mantar and explore it yourself. It's highly interactive video. I have taken the screenshot from the same website. So, do you think ये सब construction करना possible है without knowing the structure of universe? How many of you agree? We can construct this without knowing the structure of the universe. I'm asking a big question. Do you think it's possible? That means those who have constructed it, it's not possible. Thank you, Vikas sir. Shreya madam, Sangeeta ji, it's not possible. Okay. So if we constructed these structures which depicts the planetary motion, let us talk about the solar system, not get into universe. But still, in 15th century, let me show you the details. It was constructed between 1724 to 1730. Maharaja Savai Jai Singh II of Jaipur. This astronomical observation at 5 places across the country. And it depicts, so do you think it requires very high level of mathematics, high level understanding of physics, high level understanding of universe, high level of understanding of material? क्योंकि आज बनाई हुई दीवार 10 साल बाद थोड़ी छोटी हो जाती है, जमीन में धंस जाती है, उसका क्या क्या होता है कंस्ट्रक्शन. Just look at the construction around you and you will, so you need to have science knowledge, material knowledge, construction knowledge, civil engineering, space science, astronomy, everything. So it's a blend of everything. And it was constructed by Savai Jai Singh. उन्होंने कोई डिग्री नहीं ली थी एस्ट्रोनॉमी में. So that's the Indian knowledge system. As I said earlier during the introduction, the personalized and precision medicine. Personalized and precision medicine, modern world is talking of it now. In recent past, means 1 decade. But आपको दादी को पता था कि किसको दूध किसके साथ देना है. For example, your dadi or nani was knowing the X person was given a medicine with turmeric, the doodh with turmeric, another was with black pepper, and third member in the family was to be given with adrak. They were knowing this. They were personalizing it for the each individual in the family. Do you think it is possible without science, without knowledge? And the modern world talks about it today. So you yourself evaluate whether we were reached scientifically or not. Whether we need to bring in the IKS from this perspective into our mainstream education or not. Should we have a degrees around it, and it will help the learners or the degree owners to be self-reliant based on the knowledge, and whether they pass or fail in exam, irrespective of, they will be like self-reliant. They will be independent of anything. It will help them to liberate from misunderstanding of what we call so-called modern things. That is what really sa vidyaya vimuktaye. That is what I mean by this. I connected another dot. So I plotted few dots. So I'm trying to connect all these to create a beautiful picture of IKS. So I would like to share our own story. Let me take a break of 30 seconds. I want to have some water. Okay, I'm back. So based on this personalization principle, we studied through the literature, Indian ancient literature, modern medicine literature, and many other things. We had focus of our study was 5 district, the particular jurisdiction of Amravati University. Coincidentally, we have not selected it like by choice. It was incidental. This was before I joined SGBAU in Shegaon. So the study is like we studied those literature and we identified there are 16 different vegetables that can be grown into our region, particularly Western Vidarbha region. If you combine those, it can act as a complete food like a milk. मतलब सिर्फ आप मिल्क पी के जिंदा रह सकते हो 100 साल तक because it has everything which is required for a body. So we identified the 16 vegetable and then we studied their combination. After sufficient literature study and survey and certain experiments, we identified ways and means we call recipe or a protocol in your language to convert these vegetables into powder form without losing micronutrient more than 7%. Okay, so we process those vegetables into a powders and we created a premix of 8 different powders of allowed combination as per the literature. I will not say Indian knowledge, I will call it now literature. Can I dare to say call it a literature now based on the facts which I presented? Can I have a quick response in a chat? Can we call it as Indian literature instead of calling it as something else, tradition, mythology or something else? Is it Indian literature? Vikas sir is saying yes, Shreya madam saying yes, Ajinkya sir responded, Dr. Manisha says yes. So based on this literature, you have identified the combinations of a vegetable to be made. There are certain combinations which are prohibited for consumption. But unfortunately, we are doing many of them. And that's why we have diseases in almost every family. The chronic diseases which are considered to be rare in Indians now have become common in every house. Like I'm talking about acidity, blood pressure, diabetes, cancer. These are like quite rampant these days, right? So based on this literature, we have created something. Sorry, my mouse pointer is troubling me. Then we installed it in a different chambers, and for personalization, what we realized, we did some analysis in the market. There are various supplement. I will not name the company. To my surprise, the efficiency or the effect, the total, what we call the result outcome of is 20% effective. Means any combination of a micronutrient you take from the market is only 20% effective. It doesn't work for remaining 80% people. That's a bitter fact. Then we discuss with the various companies manufacturing those, can we personalize this? Because the literature says personalization is the key to make it effective. Each one has to be supplied the nutrition combination of their type, their body type. And there are 3 types of absorption enhancer, A1, A2, A3. They are generally, like as I said earlier, made of turmeric, made of black pepper, made of the lemon powder, and so on. There are 6 of them. We coupled, group them, 9 of them. We group them as per their categories into 3 groups. Now, anybody who wants to consume and get a effect of this micronutrient and cure their anemia, mind everyone, 87% adolescent girls are anemic, 59% ladies are anemic, 49 point something percentage males are anemic. That's a statistic of a country as per government reports. It's not my numbers. Government invests around 30,000 crores everywhere to cure or to come out of anemia. Rashtriya Poshan Abhiyan, Anemia Mukta Bharat Darsa Abhiyan. But it doesn't work because it lacks a personalization. We discussed with top-notch scientists how we can personalize the doses. Many of them came with the like hand raised. No, it's not possible. Logistically, it's impossible solution. The Dadi in a village in a Mangrupir Taluka, Washim district, offered us a solution. Have this container. आपको जो container दिखाई दे रहे 11, each container contains powder, combination powder, dehydrated vegetable. Then there are handle missing. If you look at this spring, this is a screw. If you rotate this, it ejects 1 gram of powder from each container. Then we had a trial on 503 ladies, जिसमें से ये एक हैंडल से उनको लेडीज को प्रिस्क्रिप्शन मिलता था, ऊपर के रो में कंटेनर का नंबर लिखा हुआ था और नीचे के रो में उसके नीचे एक नंबर, फॉर एग्जांपल A1 के नीचे लिखा था 10, A2 के नीचे लिखा था 0, A3 के नीचे लिखा था 2. That means the lady has to rotate container number A1 10 times, so it will give a 10 gram of powder. A2 0 मतलब ये नहीं लेना है, A3 के नीचे लिखा था 2 मतलब ये 2 ग्राम लेना है. So that way we were able to personalize the dose for each ladies, and we found that out of 503 ladies in 90 days 501 ladies का anemia हमने completely eradicate किया. Locally grown, locally processed, locally dispensed solution. You name it a circular economy or कुछ भी बोलिए, but this is a fact. Everybody has their personalized supplement for a month. और फार्मर्स को ये कंटेनर पे मार्किंग था, जिसका सपोज मैंने पालक का पाउडर डाला है, कितना कंज्यूम हुआ उतना बिल वो फार्मर को जाएगा. सो दैट इज हियर आर सम इंटरेस्टिंग रिजल्ट. हम साइंटिस्ट हैं, हमें रिजल्ट चाहिए होते. सो आई हैव सम रिजल्ट्स टू शो यू. दिस इज अ कंसेप्ट, these are the numbers. So in the interest of time, you can take a screenshot and I'll skip the numbers. So 2 ladies ने हमारा नहीं सुना, इसलिए वो 99% आ गया. Otherwise we could have achieved 100%, right? So the Colosseum and the Padma Durga, I have been in Italy for quite a few years, and what I found, the Colosseum is considered as one of the 7 wonders, but hardly anyone in India know about the Padma Durga, the fort constructed by Maharaj, and it has at the mid of the sea, it has a supply of fresh water around a year. I think we need to learn the civil engineering. These are the close-ups. Tithi and calendar. Everybody talks शायद astrology भविष्य, ये तो कुछ matter of making fun, but look at the calculation, mathematics and understanding it has. Okay, how the Purnima happens, how the Ekadashi happens, and all the tithis and wars and lunar eclipse and solar eclipse, how they were predicted, identified correctly. So it is huge mathematics behind it. We were knowing the motion of the planets. जहाँ पे गैलीलियो को पनिशमेंट हुआ दूरबीन डिस्कवर करने के लिए और कुछ फैक्ट्स बताने के लिए, वहाँ पे हमने तो कैलेंडर बना के रखा था. So is it not the science? Don't we need to bring that into mainstream education? So that's what the Indian knowledge system has. This is again one more video I would like to show you. It's Nepia temple. It has 161 pillars. I'll narrate the story through a small video clip. Okay, so bear with me. I'll play the video clip. I don't know, I'll need to reshare to make you hear the sound. Be with me for a while. Share sound, optimize video clip, and I'm sharing it. Okay, so I'll play 2 small video clips here. Okay. So the first is this Hampi musical pillars. You yourself listen to this small video clip. Sorry, I'll play the video clip.
There are 56 musical pillars. How did these different pillars create various sounds? When we tap on stones, we will get sound. When we tap on pillars, how they will create sa-re-ga-ma-pa notes? Do these pillars have hollow inside them to create various sounds? British officer had same doubt in mind and cut one column to see what was inside. And he proved that all pillars are rock solid. When there is no hollow inside, how did they create different sounds in pillars? Did ancient builders have much deeper understanding of sounds, just like modern-day scientists? Today we use a technology called cymatics to understand sound and vibration. When musical notes and vibration come, different geometric patterns emerge. Is there any possible that ancient builders were also using cymatics? Here we can see cymatics patterns covered on ceiling of this temple. Any connection between this patterns and musical pillars? If we play instruments and music will come out and cymatics patterns appear. If we tap on pillars through cymatics patterns, will music come out? Still.
This is one. This one is another.
Here on these granite walls, you can see how the craftsmen were able to cleave the stone off from the monolithic rocks. So in here, stakes would have been driven when this was part of the boulder. They would have been filled with banyan tree, and then hot water or oil would have been poured on there, and that would have expanded it, and as it did so, split the rock. So here you can see it actually in a wall in situ. But when we're out and about on the boulders, you can see them in the distance there behind the watchtower. You can actually see the sites where they were quarried using this incredibly clever technique over 500 years ago.
Breaking the stones into desired pieces and size. So it's not possible without the true science, or rather the science, the satya. I'm connecting the dots up, having data, information, knowledge, wisdom, and truth, satya. So this is a journey. Now, these are the well-known facts: iron pillars, iron beam, Qutub Minar, and I think I need not to talk much on this. And then, in the interest of time, we have just 20 minutes left, and we need to have some time for question answer. Irrigation. This is the oldest dam in the world, and it is still in use. Read this out yourself and then decide, do we really need to bring in this Indian knowledge system again into mainstream education, or just it's a mythology or list of do's and don'ts, the dot which I drawn earlier, it's a mythological practice, or it's only connected with the religion and spirituality, or it's a real science, it's a real way of life we need to bring into main education system. Ask yourself, and then you can conclude what is to be done, whether it is required or not. So NEP should be looked from this perspective. So the Konark Sun Temple, read the material. I have provided the link, and some of you already might have visited there. Is it possible without knowing so many things? In every picture, in every example I have shared, you will find it's a blend of different science, what we call today. We separate engineering from science, science from arts, arts from commerce, and so on and so forth. But is it the case? Can we do that really? Does the physics person need not to know the commerce? Does the commerce person doesn't require the knowledge of mathematics? Does the mathematician doesn't need to understand physics, and so on and so forth? You ask yourself, then you talk about disciplinary boundaries. So that is the concept, that is the fact which we want to take from IKS and bring into our modern education system, or whatever you want to name it as. Let we want to call it as modern or anything else. You decide yourself. So here is a brief description in yellow and black color. You can read out. It was constructed in 13th century, black granite, 12 years to complete. Sun idol is suspended in a year. There were magnets used. So now look at the science they have followed. First ray of a sun fell onto gigantic sun idol kept inside the main temple complex. Some of you can identify this picture. You can relate it to the recent G20 summit. We tried to showcase our rich cultural heritage during G20 summit. The Prime Minister was greeting the foreign delegates, and the picture in the backdrop was somewhere similar to this, if you can recollect. Right? So that's the richness of our culture, that's the richness of our science. So I'll skip a few of the slides as I could not format, but I'll spend few minutes on this side. What's the problem? We are so rich, we are so knowledgeable, we are scientists and so on. So there are many things, good things we talked. Why the, again, I will take back you back to the Macaulay slide. We'll not debate on whether it was true or not, but I will definitely like to draw your attention to this picture and relate it with the what Macaulay perceived or assumed to be said. Assume that he has said this, right? So here is a picture. It represents average height of females in different countries. You have Lavita, Australia, Scotland, Peru, South Africa, and India. Anybody who looks at this picture, what's the perception you build? Anyone can unmute and answer or type in a chat. What's your reading after this picture? What do you conclude after looking at this picture? The picture represents female heights in different countries. If you compare Indians with particularly, let's say, women in Lavita or Australia, what's your perception you build out of this picture? Average height of Indian woman list, Nikhil, jeans, okay. Any other perception other than Nikhil sir? If I say the Indians are like dwarf compared to Lavitan woman, that's kind of conclusion we can draw. Indian woman बहुत ही छोटे, right? But now I'll give another perspective of looking at. Just compare the height of Indian woman is somewhere between 5 feet. The height of South African woman is 5.2. Then Australian 5.4. The difference is just few inches. And the picture which is represented here, जैसे मैंने पहले क्वेश्चन पूछा था about Indian degree and a foreign degree, don't you think similar picture is painted here? And it's not others. I think we ourselves are painting this picture. I think to eradicate this reason, yes, Nikhil sir, climate in the region, that I agree. But I'm talking about the presenting the things, the way we present. Though I'll go ahead with I'll accept all the things you have said. But
आपण स्वतःला खूप छोटे समजतो सर, असं त्याचं.
Exactly. Thank you, sir, for bringing that up. So I think it's all about a mindset. What is ours, what we have is less compared to what the particularly so-called modern world has. I think this is the mindset, and we need to break down this mindset by presenting the real scientific fact. Okay, so we need to bring in real scientific fact, like we shared some of them today. These are not the only facts which I presented. There are so many. You look around, probably every village, you have these people. मैंने previous session में announcement किया था एक, I want to preserve this traditional knowledge. और ये जो old age लोग हैं वो आगे के 10 साल तक ही हमारे साथ में, because they are into their 70s, जिनको ये traditional knowledge है, and we are on the verge of losing them. Before we lose them, at least जो shareable knowledge है, जैसे कि दादी ने ये उनके घर के बहू को ये बताने को कभी इंटीग्रिटी चेक नहीं किया कि खाना कैसे बनाना है, कुरड्या पापड़ा कशा बनवायचा, how to make a pickle. I think we are going to lose that in next 10 years. So we need to preserve that. जो shareable knowledge है, जो हर day-to-day knowledge है, that need to be protected. The powerful knowledge probably we may not able to capture and store it. It is in the different form unless we verify our own integrity. But at least the one which we can preserve should be protected. right? So that's my appeal to all of you to take an initiative. मेरा एक था जहाँ पे जिस कॉलेज में एनएसएस कैंप है या जो कॉलेजेस कुछ सोशल एक्टिविटीज करते हैं, दे शुड फॉर्म द क्लब्स and the student should go to the villages and talk to Dadiji, Dadaji and all the senior people in those villages and understand the wisdom they have and document that so that it is beneficial to the coming generations. We can write some books on cooking, the food, the farming, the health, and the Ajibai Sabatwa, and so many things. Okay, we are on the verge of losing this in next a decade. So this is my sincere appeal to all the college representatives here. Okay, so what we have, we were knowing the uses, doses, and causes of these all ingredients. I think you will find that in every kitchen almost. ऑल किचन. सो हमारा किचन और नानी जी दादी जी चलता फिरता फार्मेसी थे और हमारा किचन आज का मेडिकल स्टोर था. ओके, तो डिसीजंस कैसे होंगे? किचन वाज आवर मेडिसिन स्टोर. That is what we need to bring back. That's why we need to bring this IKS into mainstream. Then what is missing? I don't misunderstand me. Money. I mean a value. We need to add a value, present it scientifically, so that if you are addressing a problem, then try to link that with earning in ethical way. We learn to get a degree, we learn to get a job, but learn to solve the problems and earn the money by solving problems. That's one thing which is missing in academia. I think the pictures tells a story. It is said that one picture is equal to 1,000 words. So I'll avoid restrain myself speaking on this picture. हमारे पास इतना सारा है तो हम इसको ऐसे यूज कर रहे हैं. So whether it is fault of some other entity or we ourselves, who is responsible, that you need to reflect on yourself. Then this is how we work in a team. Again, I will not speak much on this picture, but give time for reflection. Look at this picture and judge yourself. Where do you stand and what we need to do? All are learned people and I need not to explain this. So as I promised, I'll be talking about a possible solution. I am not saying this is the only solution, but there can be a solution to this. So I presented you the sustainable development goal initially, which appears to be not connected to the topic today. The sustainable development goals are nothing but the problem of entire humanity. So I would say rather the universe, not even the humanity. The sustainable development goals listed out the problems of all countries, group them into categories, and those categories are known as SDG, and they are 17. More than 7,000 actions, which we can consider a future direction for all of us. Let me tell you one example. I'll stop the presentation and share the screen again like earlier. And I have a few slides remaining. First, I would like to show you the screen, some different screen regarding sustainable development goal. Again, let me go to the browser. Let me reshare the screen for the browser. I tried sharing desktop, but I couldn't do it. But anyway, so here is the browser. And I'm typing in Google SDG Google. Google जैसे कंपनी भी अगर SDG पे काम करती है तो हमें भी करना चाहिए. ठीक है. So the first website, I typed the keyword. Everybody please note this keyword, SDG Google. That is what I typed. Then for all the sustainable development goals, there are 17, as I said earlier. Google has developed certain solution for each of them. Right? You take anyone. So I'll take this Kindara. It's related to health. It's an app developed by Indian students. There are college students, not even completed the degree. उन्होंने आप क्या बनाया, आजकल आपने इनफर्टिलिटीज हैंडल करने वाले सेंटर, आईवीएफ सेंटर्स हर सिटी हर जगह देखे होंगे। ये 25 साल पहले बिल्कुल प्रॉब्लम नहीं था। इंस्टीट्यूशनल डिलीवरी मोस्टली सीजरियन होती है। आई एम नॉट लाइक अगेंस्ट एनीथिंग, अगेन नॉट अगेंस्ट द सिस्टम। वैसे ही इनफर्टिलिटी है, कंसीव करना वो आजकल बड़ा चैलेंजिंग इशू हो गया, राइट। सो दे केम विद द सॉल्यूशन। यहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम लिस्टेड था एसडीजी में। These students came with the solution, what is the right time to conceive, किस वक्त आप प्रेग्नेंट रह सकते हैं। आपका अपना लाइफस्टाइल, डेली शेड्यूल और कुछ पर्सनल इंफॉर्मेशन उसे इनपुट करनी है, एंड द ऐप सजेस्ट यू द राइट टाइम टू कंसीव। यू विल बी सरप्राइज्ड टू नो after launching within first 3 months it could find 4 crore customers across the globe. They are charging few hundred rupees per opinion. Imagine their earning. So that is how, I mean, you need to link these problems with academia, bring in Indian knowledge, and then develop a solution in line with that. So that's my proposed solution for bringing IKS into practice, bringing not just in academics but into a real practice. Okay, so let me go back to presentation for last few slides, and then we'll stop for a question and answer. So that's my solution. But how it can be developed? So study sustainable development goals. Once you study sustainable development goals, identify the problem domain of your interest. Once you identify a problem domain of interest, look out the actions that need to be taken for solving that problem. Once you find action, relate it with the IKS, and once you relate it with IKS, develop a solution around it. So then obvious question, जिसके लिए knowledge resources कहाँ से आएगा? उसके लिए मेरे पास में बहुत simple सा prescription है. We need to make it consistent. So I called it a prescription for innovation and entrepreneurship. So if you connect with IKS, it will definitely give you the solution. I presented few of them. There might be many around. These are not the only solutions. There are ample. हजारों है ऐसे. Okay. So I call it a prescription for innovation 10-5-5-5. मतलब ये इतने मिनट्स आपको डेली इन्वेस्ट करना है, 25 मिनट. 25 मिनट डेली इन्वेस्ट करने से यू विल ब्रिंगिंग द IKS इन द प्रैक्टिस. 10 मिनट आपको, I call it as Google uncle and Chat GPT Maushi. Brad uncle भी आ गए आजकल, चाचा, right? So I call them Maushi and uncle because they are always ready to answer 24/7, 365 days. So when you have landed onto a possible solution and linked with IKS, how to do that? Search in a Google or Chat GPT for 10 minutes. Identify 3 keywords. Read each keyword for 5 minutes daily. 10 मिनट सर्च करना है, हर कीवर्ड सर्च करके 10 मिनट सोचना है. सोचने के बाद 3 कीवर्ड आइडेंटिफाई करने हैं. हर कीवर्ड को सर्च करने के बाद जो भी आपको लगता है इंटरेस्टिंग लिंक है, उस लिंक को 5 मिनट कम से कम पढ़ना है. Once you read each keyword for 5 minutes, note it down. The bad habit with Indians that we read a lot and we don't note it down. And the result of that, many of you might have experienced that, यार ये तो मेरा आइडिया है, इसने तो बड़ा बिजनेस बना लिया इस पे. This would have happened to each one of you at least few times, right? Because we don't have a habit to write, note, and act on it. We don't have a consistency. So think for 10 minutes, read for, if you repeat this for a month, you will almost find a solution. Then link that with academics or culture or a degree or a program or a problem solution, entrepreneurship, innovation, startup, patent, publication, whatever you want to, and act on it. You will find a real solution. You will have a real paper. No matter if anybody is citing it or not, no matter in which journal it is being published, it will be a real solution. Otherwise, हम टीचर्स तो बहुत एक्सपर्ट है. हमें चाहे जो जर्नल में, रिसेंटली यूजीसी ने एक स्टेटमेंट जारी किया था यूजीसी चेयर में, रिसेंटली दे हैव रिमूव्ड द the publication criteria for PhD with the statement, with the analytics. PhD का क्वालिटी इंप्रूव नहीं हुआ जर्नल पब्लिकेशन कंपलसरी करने से, लेकिन जर्नल का धंधा बढ़ गया. This is a sad part. That's why we need to bring Indian knowledge system. Okay, so this is my solution to all the problems and challenges I raised earlier. Remember, always, this is the first picture applies to many of us here today, including me. अच्छा, करते एक दिन से शुरू करते हैं, इसको जरूर शुरू करते हैं. या हम सब लोगों का एक प्लानिंग था जो आज तक एग्जीक्यूट नहीं हुआ. द प्लानिंग वाज आफ्टर अ रिजल्ट, नेक्स्ट डे आफ्टर अ रिजल्ट यूजुअली, क्योंकि पहला दिन तो खुशी या गम में चला जाता है. रिजल्ट के बाद में कम मार्क मिले तो गम में, ज्यादा मिले तो खुशी में. नेक्स्ट डे वी हैव अ रिजोल्यूशन दैट वाज नेवर एग्जीक्यूटेड सो फार. मुझे लगता है ज्यादातर लोगों का यही होगा. अगले सेमेस्टर में बहुत अच्छे से पढ़ाई करके एग्जाम देंगे, शुरू से पढ़ाई करेंगे ये, बिकॉज दैट वाज वन डे. हम एक दिन से पढ़ाई शुरू करेंगे. बट इफ यू वांट टू मेक इट डे वन, just reverse it. Start today. It will, one day will become day one, and you will progress like as I showed in a picture on the right. Okay, so that's my solution to the problem. As I said earlier, I'll be connecting dots, I'll be connecting IKS, I'll be connecting current scenario, I'll be connecting, say student starts working, give them a credit for solving this problem, and NEP permits you that. I think there will be a sessions on how to creditize all this activity, how you can link that with earning degree, how you can link with solving problem, how can it be linked with making careers. So I think the other speaker will talk about all these things, but I have given the glimpses of like what the IKS can do to, and NEP is the basis. The IKS is the basis for NEP, as I presented earlier. But there is a problem, and the problem is we all are intelligent and we have our roles to play. हमें इस कमेटी का इंचार्ज बनाया गया है. पर्टिकुलर टीचर्स को कोई प्रिंसिपल है, कोई HOD है, कोई NAC कोऑर्डिनेटर है, and NAC कोऑर्डिनेटर कोई IQS है, कोई NSS इंचार्ज है. That restricts us from doing the things which are not in our portfolio. That's a typical problem we have. This award-winning picture of Times of India is not my picture, but I think to some extent this is a reality. Okay, so that's all from my side. Thank you very much, and I'm open for the questions if any. I hope this was added few points into your dictionary, your knowledge dictionary. If it is boring, please let me know in the chat. I'll improve whenever I will do it next time. If it is interesting, you can share with others. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for such a wonderful and insightful session. Yes, participants, now the forum is open for discussion. If you has any queries or the question or any kind of idea with regards to IKS, you can share here. Please, anyone. Yes, anyone else?
हॅलो.
Yes, sir, please.
सर बोथे सर, आपण छान अगदी म्हणजे हार्ट टचिंग टॉपिक होता आज. आणि आपण जे आतापर्यंत साधारणतः जे आपण जे आपल्या पूर्वजांकडून ऐकत आलेलं आहे ते खरंच आपल्या मेनस्ट्रीममध्ये यायला पाहिजे. आणि मला असं वाटतं की NEP आता त्याच्याकडे म्हणजे त्याच्याकडे पाऊल ठेवत आहे. आणि खूप छान सेशन होतं सर. काही म्हणजे क्वेश्चन असा काही नाही, परंतु असं म्हणावं लागेल की आजकाल सगळ्यांना कसं रेडीमेड पाहिजे. म्हणजे पूर्वी जर आपण ऐकत होतो की म्हणजे आपल्या घरासमोर सडा टाकायला जायचा शेणाने. हां, तर ते खूप त्याच्यामध्ये काहीतरी एक सायंटिफिक रिझन होतं त्याच्यामध्ये. ते आपल्या पूर्वजांनी आपल्याला ते त्याच्यामुळे मच्छर नव्हते होत, त्याच्यामुळे काही डिसीज नव्हते होत. तर हे जे आहे, पण आज कोणीच त्याच्यामध्ये कोणीच काही सगळ्यांना सिमेंटचे रस्ते पाहिजे, सगळ्यांना चकाचक पाहिजे. आपली भारतातली परिस्थिती अशी आहे की भाजीपाला आपल्या रस्त्यावर विकला जातो आणि चपला ह्या दुकानाच्या शोरूम मध्ये असतात. ही मानसिकता जोपर्यंत आपली चेंज नाही होत, तोपर्यंत ह्या गोष्टी सर IKS इन मेन स्ट्रीम आणायला आपल्याला खूपच मेहनत करावी लागेल. सर तुम्ही हे म्हणजे सेशन जे आहे, हे सेशन फारच उत्तम सेशन होतं. म्हणजे परंतु कोणीतरी स्टार्ट करायला पाहिजे. कधीतरी कोणीतरी स्टार्ट करायला पाहिजे, तेव्हा असे पॉसिबल होईल सर. थँक्यू सर, थँक्यू व्हेरी मच सर फॉर सच नाईस लेक्चर सर.
थँक्यू विकास सर. आणि माझं त्याच्यावरती उत्तरच आहे की मला वाटतं आता ही नवीन जनरेशन जी आहे, ही जनरेशन मी यांना माझ्या भाषेत म्हणतो, बाप दाखव नाही तर श्राद्ध कर. म्हणजे यांना प्रूफ दाखवावं लागतं. सळा टाकण्यामुळे हे होत नाही, हे त्यांना पटणार नाही. जसे आता मी याच्यात एव्हिडन्सेस तुमच्यासमोर काही मांडले, अशा एव्हिडन्स बेस्ड त्यांना जर आपण सिलेबसमध्ये इन्क्लूड केलं, हे म्युझिकच नाही, DJ का नको, याचे जर सायंटिफिक व्हॅलिडेशन त्यांनाच करायला लावले, आपण न करता मला वाटतं त्यांनाच करायला लावायचे, की बाबा तू हे बघ, डीजेनी हार्टबीट किती वाढतात आणि हे हा पर्टिक्युलर राग किंवा ऐकल्याने तुझे हार्टबीट कसे कंट्रोल होतात, तुझं हायपरटेन्शन कंट्रोल कसं होतं. या पद्धतीने त्याची जर मांडणी केली तर ही जनरेशन ऐकेल. अदरवाईज तुम्हाला माहित आहे, ही जनरेशन गुगल, व्हॉट्सअप, युनिव्हर्सिटीवाली जनरेशन आहे
खरं आहे
आणि
सर,
त्यांना
खरं आहे
हे
सर.
सायंटिफिक मांडणी करणं मला वाटतं गरजेचं आहे. आणि तो आपल्या
Sir, may I
सगळ्यांचा रोल आहे.
disturb you? Sir, may I disturb you?
येस प्लीज सर, गो अहेड.
Dr. Mahesh Dabre from Akola.
येस सर.
सर, इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टीम मध्ये जेव्हा आपल्याकडे पूर्वी 13वी साजरी केली जायची,
येस सर.
याच्या पाठीमागे सुद्धा सायन्स आहे.
ओके, आय डोंट नो,
हे
प्लीज गो
हे
अहेड.
किती लोकांना माहिती आहे? आय थिंक की पूर्वी जे दुर्धर आजारांनी म्हणजे जसं आता सरांनी सांगितलं की शेणाचा सडा टाकला जायचा, तो सूर्योदयाच्या आधीच टाकला जायचा सर. त्याच्यावरून येणारी किरणं, त्याच्यानंतर त्याच्यावरून येणारी जी उष्ण हवा आहे, ती जंतुनाशक असायची सर. आणि त्याच्यामुळे घरातलं ऍटमॉस्फिअर खूप सुंदर राहायचं. आणि पूर्वी आपली घरं धाब्याची होती, त्याच्यामुळे घरात जो एक पॉझिटिव्ह ऍटमॉस्फिअर क्रिएट होण्यासाठी हे सगळं हे होतं. आणि गाईच्या शेणाचा विशिष्ट सडा टाकला जायचा आणि त्याच्यामध्ये जे पॉझिटिव्ह ऍटमॉस्फिअर, सूर्याची किरणं पडल्यानंतर जे उष्ण वातावरण यायचं आतमध्ये, त्याच्यामुळे सगळे जीवजंतू नष्ट व्हायचे. किंवा पूर्वी आपल्याकडे म्हटलं जायचं की दारात शिंक देऊ नये, ते याच्या पाठीमागे सुद्धा सायन्स होतं. 13वी साजरी करावी, आता तेव्हाचा तो काळ जो होता, पाहुण्यांना पोहोचणे, घराची स्वच्छता करणे, दुर्धर आजाराने तो व्यक्ती मृत पावणे, तर ती जी वातावरणाची शुद्धी होती, घर सारवणे, हे सगळं करण्यासाठी जो एक पूर्ण वेळ जायचा, त्याच्यासाठी म्हणून जे 8-10 दिवस जायचे, तर त्याच्यासाठी खरं तर हे सायन्स त्याच्या पाठीमागे होतं. जो आहार आहे आपल्याकडे, आहारामध्ये आता समजा भेंडीची भाजी केली, तर त्याच्यासोबत दुधाचे पदार्थ खावणे किंवा मुळा सुद्धा भेंडी सोबत खावणे, हे अँटी कॉम्बिनेशन आहे. म्हणजे हे सायन्स आपल्याला या जनरेशनला दाखवावं लागणार आहे. आता सर मी माझ्या मुलाशी एक 10 मिनिटापूर्वी बोललो, तर त्याला एकच बोललो, की आपण दुरडीमध्ये पूर्वी चतकोर पोळी ठेवायचो किंवा भाकरी ठेवायचो. म्हणजे द्रौपदीचे ते पान खावणी, हा जो कृष्णाचा जो आपल्याकडे अभंग आहे किंवा जो महाप्रसाद म्हटला जातो आपल्याकडे, की ते पान खाऊन त्यांनी तृप्ततेची ढेकर दिली आणि जे साधू आले होते त्यांचं सुद्धा पोट भरलं गेलं. तर याला कारणच ते आहे. ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टी आपल्याला ह्या जनरेशनला खरंच सांगाव्या लागतील. आणि देअरफॉर सर, इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टीम इज बेस्ड इन द वर्ल्ड. म्हणजे ऋग्वेद, यजुर्वेद, सामवेद आणि अथर्ववेद जर वाचला, तर आय थिंक वी शुड बी एबल टू नो व्हॉट इज द इंडियन सिस्टीम अँड व्हॉट वॉज द कल्चर डेव्हलप. म्हणजे सिंधू नदीच्या खोऱ्यामध्ये डेव्हलप झालेलं जे कल्चर आहे, हे आपल्याला इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टीमच्या माध्यमातून पोहोचवता येईल. सर, आपण उत्तम उत्तम अगदी म्हणजे जे भरड धान्य आहेत त्यापासून जे एक सायंटिफिकली हे केलं. आजही सर आमच्याकडे आम्ही बऱ्याचशा भाज्या प्रिझर्व करून ठेवतो, है ना. तर याच्या पाठीमागचं जे कारण आहे ना, हे खरं आज तुम्ही खूप छान पद्धतीने उलगडून सांगितलं.
Thank
And
you, thank you, Manish sir.
for
Like,
that, I am very thankful towards you, sir. म्हणजे हार्टफेल्ट थँक्स मी तुम्हाला देईल की म्हणजे NEP अंतर्गत हे सगळं येतंय आणि तुम्ही अगदी फार सिम्पल लँग्वेजमध्ये हे एक्सप्लेन केलं सर. Therefore, on behalf of all my participants, I am very thankful to you, sir.
thank you sir, thank you very much. आणि जसं मी पहिल्यांदा म्हटलं सरांना, विलास सरांना, की आपल्याला या शास्त्रीय दृष्ट्या मुलांसमोर आणावं लागेल. म्हणजे त्याच्यामुळे मुलांसमोरच नाही, म्हणजे अगदी याला विद्यापीठाला जाणारी किंवा कॉलेजला स्कूलला जाणारी लोकच एनरोल केली पाहिजे असं माझं मत नाही. माझं मत आहे की ही मला वाटतं घराघरात पोहोचलं पाहिजे, की आपल्या ज्या रूढी परंपरा ह्या रूढी परंपरा नाहीत, ते एक खूप मोठं सायन्स आहे हे आपल्याला पोहोचवणं. त्याच्यासाठी आपल्याला हे IQS आणणं गरजेचं आहे. बरोबर आहे, तुमच्या दोघांची मी सहमत आहे. आणखी काही कोणाचा क्वेश्चन असेल तर आपण घेऊया. एखाद दोन क्वेश्चनला आपल्याला वेळ आहे 5-10 मिनिटं.
Yes, anyone else?
येस अरुणा मॅडम, आय ॲग्री विथ यू. कळतं पण कळत नाही, ठाऊक आहे ते. फक्त याला आपल्याला शास्त्रीय दृष्ट्या मांडायला पाहिजे आणि आपली कुठेतरी कन्सिस्टन्सी मला वाटतं कमी पडतं. ॲज अ टीचर, ॲज अ प्रोफेसर, प्रिन्सिपल, व्हॉट्स युअर रोल वी आर प्लेइंग, ती कन्सिस्टन्सी जर आणली तर हे आपण मला वाटतं सहज करू शकू. अँड वी नीड जॉईंट एफर्ट्स. थँक्यू.
Sir, I think there is no more questions.
Yes sir, we can close.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So I here to conclude this session. सरांनी सांगितल्याप्रमाणे एक छोटीशी पार्श्वभूमी घेऊन आपण पुढे जाऊया. जेव्हा जग कोरोनाशी लढत होतं तेव्हा जगातले थोर शास्त्रज्ञ आणि WHO सारखी मोठी संस्था हे भारताकडे पाहत होती आणि त्याचंच एक एक्झाम्पल किंवा परियोजन म्हणजे WHO नी जामनगर गुजरात इथे एक आयुर्वेदा हेल्थ डेडिकेटेड सेंटर साठी $250 कोटी ची इन्व्हेस्टमेंट केली. तर हे शक्य आहे. आपलंच आयुर्वेदा, आपलं शास्त्र, तो हमारा ही आयुर्वेद, हमारा ही शास्त्र लेके हम लोग आगे बढ़े थे. जो हमारा प्राचीन भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा है वह हमारी बहुत ही प्राचीन है और उसको हम शायद कहीं कहीं पे भूलते जा रहे हैं बिकॉज ऑफ एडिशन ऑफ सम काइंड ऑफ British culture. We have forgotten our culture. So really we are thankful to NEP because the NEP has get back to these days. But only thing is that there are some kind of differences between implementing the IKS. So it will be really, sir, because you have given the roadmap how to implement that, and basic one of the basic and important thing is that there should be a scientific and rational thinking behind every logic whatever we are introducing or we are telling to each other or introducing in our curricula. So on behalf of the Malvi Mission Teacher Training Center, Sant Galge Baba Amravati University, I extend my sincere gratitude and deepest thanks to Professor Santosh Bothe sir for such a wonderful and insightful session. Sir, really, this is very complex topic, and you have explained here in a very simplest way. म्हणतात की नाही की आज कळल्यासारखं मॅडमनी सांगितल्याप्रमाणे कळत कळत न कळत, पण खरंच सर तुम्ही खूपच छान पद्धतीने इथे ते टॉपिक इतका सिम्पलेस्ट वेनी आम्हाला समजवण्याचा प्रयत्न केला. त्याबद्दल मालवी मिशन शिक्षक प्रशिक्षण केंद्र संत गाडगे बाबा अमरावती विद्यापीठाच्या वतीने आपले मनपूर्वक आभार व्यक्त करतो आणि आपल्या परवानगीने हा सेशन इथे संपला असे जाहीर करतो. थँक्यू एव्हरीवन. धन्यवाद सर. धन्यवाद.
थँक्यू.
Okay,
Thank
so
you, sir. Thank
participants.
you.
Yeah. We will stop now
Thank you
here
very
and
much,
meet
sir.
tomorrow.